Hello guys, this is your friend Naruto Audio Fanfics and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto entered Slasher High, and Alma, Sadako and Carrie became part of his DarkNew life, Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Hi, my name is Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. I'm 16 years old. I live with my mother Kushina Uzumaki. Today begins our new lives. Naruto thought to himself while Kushina was driving a large-size black-colored jeep into what appears to be a town. The town was called Brook Valley. Brook Valley was a big town, much bigger town than Naruto's old hometown Konoha. Naruto grew tired of his life there and so did Kushina. The mother and son finally stop in front of a large white-colored house with black linings. Kushina turned the jeep off and sighed as she turned to look at her son. Naruto looked at his mother who was smiling at him as Kushina patted Naruto on his head. Cheer up. This is a new start for us, honey. No people to bother us, no girls cheating behind your back, and especially no assholes to give my son pain or suffering. Naruto let out a small sigh. I wish dad was here with us. I know, honey, I wish he was here with us. Naruto got out of the jeep to help unpack with their things into their new home. While Naruto opened the door of his new home while Naruto was putting the large boxes into his house, a woman approached Kushina while the Uzumaki mother was putting the boxes down for her son to take as the woman looked kind and friendly. She looked about 50 of age. She had white, gray-colored hair wearing a gray sweater with blue jeans. May I help you? Kushina asked the woman. The woman smiled friendly towards Kushina before she spoke. You must the new neighbors. Welcome. Kushina smiled at the woman, happily to have a warm welcome by one of them residents of this town. Thanks, I'm Kushina Uzumaki and over there is my son Naruto Uzumaki. Pleasure is all mine, Kushina. You have a son, my well, isn't he a handsome young man? The woman chuckled as the woman waved at Naruto as Naruto waved back as he went back to moving the boxes. I hope this will be the fresh start me and my son needs. Kushina sighed. I know how it's hard to be a single mother hoping your son will turn out the way you want him to be. The woman said. You have a son? The woman nodded her head. Yes, I do, but he's at school right now. He doesn't have too many friends though. He's a bit shy when it comes to people. Kushina nodded her head, understanding how it is having a shy son while Naruto was once like that when he was a young child. Well, I better get going. It was nice knowing you, Kushina. I'm Pamela. The woman introduces herself to Kushina as Kushina waved goodbye to Pamela. She's an interesting person. I wonder what her son is like. Kushina walked towards the door of their new house, but stopped right in her tracks. I almost forgot. Max. Here boy, come to mama. Jumping from the jeep was a big but young Rockwilder named Max, a gift from one of Naruto's friends before he moved from Konoha 5 years ago. Max was about 5 of age. Kushina patted Max on his head while Max licked Kushina. Good boy, come on honey, come inside. Max rushed inside the house. While inside their new home, there were 3 floors in the house. The house had 4 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms and 1 big kitchen and a living room and had a basement. Hours later. Dinner. Kushina cooked dinner for herself and Naruto. Naruto was on the couch in the living with Max sitting on his lap as the two were watching TV together. Kushina called saying dinner was ready. Max jumped off the couch and head off to the dining room while Naruto followed Max into the dining room, taking his sit at the end of the table, while Kushina placed out her homemade cooking out on Naruto's plate while Kushina did the same on her own plate. Starting tomorrow I'll place you in the town's high school, Kushina said to her son while Naruto was eating his dinner. Fine, long as there's aren't any jerks, Naruto said. Kushina chuckled. I feel sorry for them if they are, honey. Naruto couldn't help but chuckle as well, as Naruto and Kushina weren't just any normal mother and son family. Max was eating in his doggy bowl. Naruto thought back to the day and reason why moved out of Konoha while he was eating his dinner. Flashback. 1 week ago. Today was a bad day for Naruto Uzumaki. Today was the date everyone was getting ready for school prom and the day everyone will take their finals in order to pass to the next grade. Naruto was one of the few students to take the finals seriously. Naruto didn't have a date for the prom, but he didn't let it bother him though. Naruto didn't care if they made fun of him for being dateless. Passing on to the next grade was more important than the prom. After finishing up the final, Naruto was suddenly called out during the test right before the last few minutes were up. The fellow classmate spoke of Naruto was cheating off him. Naruto didn't want to deal with this bull crap, so he didn't speak at all. When the teacher asked Naruto if this was true, Naruto didn't speak, he only went back to his test. Since he didn't answer the teacher, Naruto failed the test. Naruto always been a good kid, but he never did have a good time taking failure in so well. As a kid, Naruto was always bullied, called names, and even picked into few fights here and there. Naruto always knew the children never did like him. He found himself never seemed to be fitting in with them at all. Naruto didn't care. All he cared was passing and getting away from these fools who weren't even worth fighting or dealing with their problems. During the prom night, Naruto was forced to be sent to his prom although he didn't want to. Naruto was asked out by Sakura Haruno, one of Naruto's few friends he had. Naruto always did like Sakura but never had the heart to tell her he loved her. During the prom, Sakura was stolen from Naruto. When the school's star and most respected guy Sasuke Uchiha asked Sakura if he would dance with her while Naruto was getting Sakura a glass of drink for her. Naruto knew Sakura had a crush on Sasuke. She was his best friend, so seeing her dancing with him bothered him only a little. Naruto took a seat for a moment watching everyone dance until a girl named Hinata Hyuga asked Naruto would he dance with her. Hinata was another good friend of Naruto. Unknowing, Hinata had a mad crush on him. Naruto and Hinata dance, they even kiss at one point. The prom wasn't as bad as Naruto thought, but during the end of prom, Naruto saw Sakura ran out of the door crying. Naruto found out and saw Sasuke was dancing with a different girl. He was fooling around and Sakura was just another sucker. Sasuke had tons of girls at his feet, almost all the girls in the school. Naruto ran off to find his best friend, but to find she was gone. Hoping she would recover tomorrow and be her normal self again. But sadly, the next day the news came that Sakura ended her life the same night of the prom. Her family found her in her room. She hanged herself as she left a note saying, "He never loved me, I was a fool. You were right, Naruto. I'm sorry, so sorry." Naruto was left heartbroken when he heard the news from Sakura's friend Ino. Only few cared about Sakura's death. Naruto didn't care, he was pissed. When he asked Sasuke did he heard the news. "Yeah, I heard. Pretty dumb, she killed herself because I told her she wasn't my date. And I never liked her. I have a girlfriend, I just wanted to see how she dances, she's a bad dancer, she had 2 left feet." Sasuke told Naruto right up in his face. Naruto hated Sasuke for the longest. Sasuke didn't have a girlfriend, he didn't need one, any girl would gladly bend over for him. Naruto wouldn't stay it no longer, he just lost it, his mind snapped. His best friend killed herself for being not accepted by the guy she was in love with. He wasn't passing to the next grade. Worst of all, many of the male students were talking and hitting on his mother. "You sure Minato was your daddy, or is that your mommy told you when you were 5? Many of the male students would tell Naruto that. Minato Namikaze was Naruto's father, but sadly he died a month ago. He got killed when Minato took the family out for dinner one night. Minato was proud of Naruto being a successful kid, he knew Naruto was gonna be successful in life. Minato was killed when a thief tried to rob the family. Minato was stabbed and bleed to death before he taken to the hospital. So much horrific things were happening to Naruto, and now losing your best friend was the last thing Naruto needed to go off the deep end. That day 50 students lost their lives that day. The halls were covered in blood, the screams of death echo through the hallways. When the police arrived at the school, they found Naruto sitting in the teacher rolling chair holding a switchblade in his right hand, as on the teacher's desk was Sasuke's head with his eyes missing. The survivors were Hinata Hyuga, Neji Hyuga, Ino, Shikamaru, Tenten, Rock Lee, and Tayuya, Tamari, and Gaara. It was funny because they were Sakura's friends and the student that didn't treat Naruto as bad. He spared their lives, he wanted to get revenge for Sakura and himself. Killing 50 students, Naruto was given the life sentences. But however, Kushina would not stand for it. Sakura was like a daughter to her, being Naruto's best friend. Kushina understood Naruto's reason, and like her son, Kushina wasn't right in the head either. Since Minato's death, Kushina wasn't on the best days of her life. She found Minato's killer and ended his life very slowly, very slowly. Kushina killed 10 policemen just to break her son out. Kushina already packed their things and moved out during the night. Since then Kushina and Naruto been on the run since. Waking up to the sound of TV down below in the living room, Naruto opened his eyes, getting up and out of bed, heading towards the bathroom to take his shower. After taking his shower, Naruto got dressed. Wearing black-colored t-shirt with blue jeans as Naruto put his grandmother's necklace around his neck before heading downstairs. Naruto entered the kitchen first to see Kushina was already dressed and had breakfast ready, pancakes and bacon, eggs. Max was in the kitchen watching Kushina cook breakfast. Max made a small noise to get Kushina's attention. Kushina looked at Max and gave him one bacon as she patted him on his head. Here you go Max, eat up. Naruto grabbed his plate and began to eat his breakfast while Kushina was talking to him. School starts in an hour, but I want for us to arrive a bit early so we can skip the sign-in and have you in, okay? Naruto nodded his head while munching down breakfast. Shortly after breakfast was done, Max was left in charge of the house and make sure no thieves get in the house while they were away. Taking the jeep to get to the high school Naruto was going, Naruto looked out as they went past by few streets down the road and other side roads. As such was Elm Street and Haddonfield Road. The Uzumakis finally arrive at High about an hour before the school opens. Naruto saw the front sign was red-colored signs, /High, where young killers become slashers. The welcome sign made Naruto sweat drop as Kushina didn't notice the sign up front. After parking in the school's parking lot, the Uzumakis entered the school, as Naruto was a bit surprised to see the school looked like a normal school. This school wasn't just for high schoolers but all grade of school, they even had a daycare there. Lost. A kind voice spoke from behind the Uzumaki family. It was a man who looked between the age of 30. He looked friendly and kind, his hair was black-colored, wearing a blue jumpsuit as he was the janitor. Although he had one arm as his right arm was missing. Yes, we are trying to find the principal room. My son here is new and wishes to have enrolled in /High. Kushina explained their reason being here. As the kind-looking man understood their reason and nodded his head. Well, it's just down the hall to your right. The man said. Thank you. Take care. Naruto had a funny feeling coming from the janitor. There was something odd but cool about him. Naruto couldn't lay a finger on why. The Uzumakis made their way to the principal office. Once they made it to the principal office, they met a woman with blonde hair. She was sitting at a desk reading few papers and signing them. Once the two Uzumakis entered the room, they got her attention as they entered the room. Hello, may I help you? The woman asked Kushina. Yes, I am Kushina Uzumaki and this is my son Naruto Uzumaki. We are new to your town and I want my son to enroll in your school. The woman nodded her head while smiling at the mother and son. Please take your seat. The principal isn't here but I am the vice principal Jill Kramer. Pleasure to meet you. Jill shook Kushina's hand and Naruto's as well. Nice to meet you, Jill, Kushina said. Jill looked at Naruto as she spoke. Nice. How Naruto, what grade were you in before you came here? Asking Naruto kindly as she pulled out a paper, writing down Naruto's name on it. In the 11th grade. Jill nodded her head. Your age and state and full name please. 16. Single and Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki is my full name. Giving his information to Jill as Jill wrote it down while the Uzumakis waiting for what Jill was going to ask them next. Well, I need to tell you, Naruto. Here at /High we do not take kindly of trouble markers. Or drugs. Naruto understood those rules simply. And weapon next, right? Jill explained to the mother and son why some weapons are allowed. Yes, of course, but there have been some changes to the rules. Some weapons are allowed for the protection of not the students but for the staff as well. Believe it or not, things can be hellish during finals time. Both Uzumaki sweat drop at the same time. I see. Kushina spoke. We shall finish the rest of the fill out later. School is about right of opening time. Jill wrote a small note and gave it to Naruto. This will give you permission to enter these classes. Here are also your books you will need. Given 3 textbooks as health, history and science were the 3 textbook subjects. Naruto looked at the second note Jill gave him as Naruto looked at the time of his classes. History 8 o'clock. Science 10:07. Health 11:25. Lunch 1 o'clock. Gym 2:15. Simple enough, here all ace through these classes with no problem. Naruto smiled. Naruto grabbed his books and placed them in the book bag he brought with him. Naruto waved goodbye to his mother and to Ms. Jill as Kushina wished Naruto good luck during his fresh new school year. Naruto sat outside of the vice principal office, sitting down on a bench waiting for school to begin as he could hear the sound of the school buses rolling and the sound of people coming out from the outside. Alright Naruto, here it goes. A brand new start. Don't screw this up and remember, be yourself and play no mind to any jerks that will come your way. Naruto saw the doors open up as he saw students enter the school grounds. He saw many students much like himself, but suddenly Naruto started to notice something real strange about the other students. They looked different, very different. Naruto never did judge people by their looks, but this was different. Half of the student here were monsters, or in this case beside monster, there were undead, vampire, some were masked people. After seeing such strangest all in one could leave Naruto nothing but to sweat drop. But suddenly someone tapped Naruto on his right shoulder, which him jump. Ah. The person who tapped Naruto also scream when he scream. The person dropped their books because of Naruto's outburst. The person who Naruto spooked was a young dark blonde girl. Ah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to spook yet. Naruto helped the girl with her books. It's okay, it's my fault I spook you. The young teenage girl said. The girl looked at the clock. Oh, I'm late. The girl ran off quickly to class, leaving Naruto to feel very confused. Naruto looked to his left and right as he noticed the hallways were suddenly empty. He didn't know why, but the hallways were empty. It wasn't long ago that the halls were filled with hundreds of students, but now it was complete empty. Naruto suddenly had a dark creeping feeling that something was going to happen. Naruto soon heard footsteps. He didn't know where the footsteps were coming from. Until Naruto looked to his right, he saw a tall man about 6 feet. He was in height, wearing a green-colored coat. He looked very human-like. Naruto slowly got off the bench. Room 209. He spoke of the room of his first class. Naruto turned away and started to walk to the stairs as his classroom was a floor above him. Naruto soon heard the sound of the tall man walking faster just as Naruto started to power walk. When Naruto went to the stairs, he ran up the stairs quickly. Naruto looked down below to see as the tall man was looking up at Naruto. Oh shit. Naruto rushed through the hallway of the second floor. Naruto saw his classroom number about 2 feet ahead of him. Naruto ran down the hallway. He opened the door of his classroom as he entered it and closed the door. While panting hard, "What the hell?" he said, while Naruto heard someone a cough noise to get his attention. Naruto slowly looked back to see the classroom teacher and as well the whole classroom staring at him. Naruto turned around fully as he sweat dropped. Sorry about that, hi. History was his first class of today. Surprise for Naruto, the history teacher was also the janitor he and Kushina met earlier. The history teacher smiled at Naruto before looking at his students. Well, now look at what we got here, ladies and gentlemen. Before we start class, shall we ask the newcomer a little about himself, shall we? Everyone in the room nodded their heads. Naruto gulped down his spit. He sighs before he introduces himself to everyone. I am Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. I just moved here the other day with my mother. Thank you for sharing. Now Naruto, would you kindly take a seat in the middle to the left, please? Naruto nodded his head as he walked down to the empty seat. Naruto was sitting between two masked people to his left and right, as in front of him was the same kind-looking girl he met before early, and right behind Naruto was a young little girl with long black-colored hair that covered her face. Naruto felt bit like a mouse in a room filled with rats. He felt bit outfitting. Everyone in the room looked different but the girl in front of him. Naruto calmed him down. He opened his history book as the teacher spoke. Alright, class 1 shall be your history teacher this year. The man wrote his name on the blackboard as his name was Ashley William, as most of the students in the room were chuckling to find their teacher had a girly name. Open to page 10 on Unit 1 we shall begin, and also I know my name seems bit girly, but you may call me Ash or Mr. Ash. Shortly after history was done, just as the bell ringed, everyone closed their books and packed their things for the next class. Naruto looked at his note to find where his next class would be. But Naruto felt someone tapped him on the shoulder. Naruto looked to his right to see a tall teenager who wore a hockey mask. The tall masked teen wore a black t-shirt with the words, Lucky 13, on it. He wore dark blue jeans. The tall teen had long gray colored hair. You know where it is? The tall teen nodded his head. Naruto followed the tall teen as everyone was walking or running down the hallway to their next classes as most of them were at their lockers. Jason. A person yelled from behind Naruto and the tall masked teen. The tall masked teen turned around to see a young teenagers about the tall masked teen's height size about 6 feet 2. But Naruto was surprised that the teen who was talking to him wasn't just a teen but a teen who wore an odd-shaped pyramid head helmet on his head. Naruto heard this pyramid head person talk as his voice echoes when he talks. Hey Jason, man, I finally caught up with you. Here's your health book, thanks for letting me borrow it, man. See ya at lunch, I got to go, nurse is waiting for me in math. The tall masked teen named Jason waved goodbye to his good friend Pyramid Head, or PH for short as everyone calls him. Friend of yours? Naruto asked Jason. As Jason answered with a slowly nod as the two continued their way to their next class, which was just ahead. The next class would be science. Just like in history, there were some human teens in the room and others were different, as Naruto would put it. Naruto sat behind Jason in the middle of the row of seats as the science classroom was much bigger, twice the size of the history room. Naruto started to feel like he was fitting in. So far he met a nice person so far. As everyone was seated in class, their science teacher entered the classroom. Naruto sweat drop again as the teacher was the strangest and weirdest looking than anyone in the classroom. He was tall, about 6 feet 2 in height. He wore a lab coat. He looked normal, but there was one problem. Is that an eye on his right shoulder? Naruto screamed in his thoughts. Hello, I shall be your science teacher this year. I am William Birkin. I welcome any newcomers of this year's and or anyone who is retaking this class. Now then, William paused as his right eye shoulder blinked as it got a full view of everyone in class. We shall start with a pop quiz. I wish to know how much of science do you all know? William paused again as his eye shoulder blinked again, but this time twice. Half of the classroom groaned in despair as the first thing they didn't want was a pop quiz on the first day. Don't cheat, and remember, I'll be keeping my eye on you. William smiled as he passed out the pop quiz papers down the row as each student passed them one by one. Through the whole time the quiz took up the whole class time, and just when everyone was finishes the bell ring again. Naruto rested his head on his desk. Finally, done. 110 questions just for a pop quiz, what the heck? Naruto packed his things and went out of the school to search for his next class. As the next class would be health class. Health class was a floor down. When Naruto went down the stairs, he noticed the same tall man who encountered early was walking around, even though the hall was filled with everyone who was leaving their classroom. Naruto used the large sum of students to avoid countering the unknown tall man. Room 467 was the room number of his health class. Once inside, Naruto noticed he was one of the few people to come early in the classroom. Naruto took his seat up front of the middle row. New face, huh, nice to see that. A voice spoke from behind Naruto. Naruto looked back to see a teen dressed in all black colored. He wore a mask, what appears to be the sad face of a ghost. Yeah, just moved here, name's Naruto, and you are? Naruto asked. Stan. The masked teen said. Where is everyone? He asked Stan. Stan chuckled at first before he spoke to Naruto. Either they're late or skipping class again, doesn't matter to me. Naruto can easily tell Stan was the layback cool guy of the classroom. He seen that type of guy before, but Stan was different, Naruto could tell. Only 10 people were in the class, and plus Naruto made it 11. With half an hour of no show of the teacher, as Stan took out his cell phone and started to text someone, as everyone else in the room was either reading their books, comics, textbook, or whatever. Naruto felt bored for a while and decided to take out his switchblade, the very same switchblade he used to kill Sasuke Uchiha the day he slaughtered half of the school. While Naruto was playing with it, flipping it up and down, left and right without even getting cut, not once. Nice blade, where did ya get that from? Stan asked Naruto, seeing such a nice and beautiful silver-colored switchblade. Nice. It uses to belong to my grandfather. He was a pro when it came to blades. He gave it to me on my 10th birthday. My mother was against it at first until she starts showing me how to use it right. Believe or not, my mother more of a knife pro than I am. Sweet, was all Stan had to say. Stan brought out his own knife, showing Naruto his small but beautiful looking hunter knife. Now that's a beauty. Naruto smiled. Yeah, goes well for hunting, killing and gutting. Especially when you're gonna cut out the eyes or the cut off the tongue. Naruto suddenly knowing how to cause pain or the right point of killing, made Stan curious, very curious. Something tells me your mom didn't just teach you just knife tricks. Naruto couldn't hide it as he grinned at Stan. I'm dying if I'm lying. Back in my old school I slaughter 50 students in 2 hours. Would have been sooner if they weren't hiding or tried to jump me. But each one of them tasted my blade. That's what happens when you mess with good kid. Stan nods his head agreeing with Naruto. It's usually the quiet ones or the good kid that are the real psychos. And also the sweet girls, those are really dangerous. You think they're sweet and all pure but push them to that one point and bang. You sure do know a lot of the levels of killers, Stan. What can I say, movies are my teachers, Stan laughed afterwards. The bell ringed as class was over and teacher didn't even show up, which made things very weird when it came to that. Lunchtime to fill my stomach. Naruto rubbed his hands together with an evil grin on his face. Hey Naruto, follow me, there's something I need to tell you. And how /high works all right. Naruto nodded his head as he followed Stan to the lunch room. Once the two entered the lunch room was the largest room in the entire school. Hundreds of students were walking around, finding their seats to eat or take it outside to eat. Naruto opened his mouth. Big I know. Naruto closed his mouth and follow Stan to the lunch waiting line. Here how things works here, Naruto, if you're the new kid, best to make friends quick. We have bully just like any normal school. Naruto nodded his head as the line started to move. Anything else I should be aware of? Naruto wanted to everything he needed to know so he wouldn't have any problem of the bad, worst and the really worst type of problems. Yeah, if you get in a fight you're on your own. Trust me, lot of us would rather see bloodshed. Naruto would have to remember that for sure. Naruto looked at the food they have on display. Naruto's face went white as a ghost. Goat, guts, blood pie, is that a finger? Oh, and it's the last one. Someone reached out taking the bowl of human fingers. Please tell me there's normal food for me here. Naruto looked at Stan who just reached out and grabbed a bowl of soup, can of orange juice and piece of cake. Huh, what? Of course this is /high, not Monster High, which is our rival. What's Monster High? Naruto asked. Like /high, only different, it's much hardcore and well I would rather be here than over there. I tell ya, a year ago I was a student of Monster High and well, let's just say the food here is way better and will not poison you when you grab it. Stan's words made Naruto feel lucky he came here. Thanks for the heads up, Stan. Naruto smiled at Stan as he believes he just made a friend today. Don't thank me yet. I hadn't even got to the good part. Stan and Naruto left the food line after getting their meal. Stan and Naruto looked around for a nice place to get. Damn, this place gets packed real quick. Naruto said as he saw Stan left the lunchroom into outside where everyone else was eating. Naruto and Stan went up a small hill and sat down as they decided to eat their lunch there. Shortly after sitting down they were visited by a girl, the very same girl who Naruto met in the hallway early today and was in his history class as well. May I eat lunch with you? The shy blonde girl asked both Naruto and Stan. Stan and Naruto looked at one another, then back at the shy girl. They gave a big nod as the shy girl smiled as she sat down between the two as everyone was now eating their lunch together. So who are you? Naruto asked. I'm. Before the girl could tell Naruto her name, Stan spoke up quickly. Carrie White, the shyest girl you will ever know. Stan spoke while drinking the can of orange juice. The girl known as Carrie blushed slightly. I was going to tell him. Sorry about that, Carrie. I know how you are with people, especially when they are new. You two know each other. Naruto was confused only for a little bit. Yeah, everyone knows Carrie, was all Stan had to say. He didn't give out any hints or clues that he was Carrie's friend, only that he knows her. Naruto decided to use this to get to know Carrie and possibly become her friend, as Stan told him, make friends quick in /high. So how long have you been in /high? Carrie felt bit nervously at first. About a year. She reminds me of Hinata in middle school. Naruto thought to himself. I moved in with my mother the other day and so far Brook Valley doesn't seem that bad. Yeah, you get used to it real quick. Stan said. What class you're taking next? Carrie asked Naruto as the young Uzumaki looked at the note paper to see his last classes for today would be. Gym, he said. That will be it for A day then. Stan spoke. A day. Yeah, A day tomorrow you'll have your B day class. Stan grabs Naruto's notepaper and turned it around, showing him the classes he will take tomorrow for his B-day. Math 8 o'clock. Art 10:07. Sex Ed 11:25. Lunch 1 o'clock. Gym 2:15. Odd I never had any A-day or B-day at my old school. Naruto scratched the back of his head. Naruto wondered how B-day will go. Stan finished up his meal. I'll tell ya this. B-day is a bit harder than A-days. I have gym as well on both days. Carrie said while Naruto looked at Naruto. Naruto smiled at Carrie. Carrie looked down at her meal, trying not to make eye contact with him. Well, I'll see ya in gym then, Carrie. What about you, Stan? Stan looked at the two. I got math after this, man, this is going to be pain. I hate math the most. Naruto chuckled. Don't we all? I know, right? Stan and Naruto laughed while Carrie watched the two laugh together, as she couldn't help but smiled as they laugh. Seeing Stan and Naruto have started to become friends, even though it's only been the first for Naruto, he already made 3 friends so far today: Jason, Stan, and now Carrie. Once the bell rang, which gave a big sign for everyone, lunch is over and the final hour of class is underway. Stan said goodbye to Carrie and Naruto and wished them good luck in gym. Room 669. Being the third largest room in the school, the gym was big as the lunchroom was. Like any other gym, it had a basketball court, a locker room, a shower room, and an open field outside. Naruto and Carrie entered the gym to see there were about 13 or so students sitting on the bench. After taking their seats, their teacher entered the room. He was normal-looking man but tough and strong-looking as well. His eyes were brown-colored, his hair was light brown. He wore a white t-shirt with green-colored shorts. Holding under his right arm was a big brown box. The man places the box down near him as he took out a notepad and pen. All right, name call. The gym teacher said as everyone listen up. Carrie White. Here. Carrie said. Jason Voorhees. The door of the gym opened as Jason made it in time as he entered the room. Jason Voorhees. The gym teacher asked. Jason nods his head and took his seat. Michael Myers. Michael was sitting above Naruto and Carrie. Michael was wearing dark blue jeans with a dark blue t-shirt with long sleeves as Myers raised his left hand up in the air. Pyramid Head. Here. Naruto Uzumaki. I'm right here. Naruto raised his left hand in the air. Esther Smith. I'm here. The very young girl dressed in schoolgirl outfit as Esther smiled happily. Alma Wade. I'm here, said the long dark-haired girl who hairs covers her face. After calling the rest of other 7, the gym teacher opened the box and passed out a pair of t-shirts and gym shorts. Everyone was given a pair of gym t-shirts and shorts in their size, of course. All right then, hello everyone, I will be your gym teacher. Many of you call me Mr. Redfield. Redfield introduced himself to the teen students. Redfield, may I ask what events we shall be doing today? Naruto asked while Naruto everyone agrees with Naruto on what they will be going for today. Nothing for today. Everyone sigh in relief. Redfield explained more. During the last hour of school I want each of you to get to know each other. As each of you will be partners as a team, Team B and Team A. Carrie, Jason, Alma, Naruto, Michael, Esther, Pyramid Head, you 7 will be Team A and the rest of you will be Team B, understand? Everyone nodded their heads. Everyone went over to the sides of their teams and waited for someone to be the first to speak. Naruto didn't feel nervous, he just wanted to know how this will work out since half of the team was either shy, silence, or they didn't want to share. Since no one is talking, I'm go first. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, I'm 16 years old. I just moved in and well I live with my mother Kushina Uzumaki. To me she's the world's greatest mom. Naruto laughed lightly. At first he felt a little shy here and there but kept going. I came from my old hometown named Konoha. It was alright until, well, a lot of bad things were happening and well I was held back a grade. And well my mother said screw it and so we move here. What street you live on? 10 blocks away from the school. I think the name of the street is Crystal Line. Naruto tapped his chin twice trying to remember what street he lived on. Esther saw Jason was moving his hands. Jason said you and him live on the same street. Really? Jason nodded his head. Sweet. Naruto gave Jason a thumb up. Naruto looked at Esther, seeing how young she looked. He wasn't going to let it fool. There been many smart young kids that could skip a few grades. How did you what he was saying? Naruto asked Esther. Jason doesn't talk much, so he signs whenever he feels like. Esther explains to Naruto. Same thing with Myers. Naruto looked at Michael, as Myers just stares at Naruto with a blank stare in his eyes. I'm not sure about him. Michael looked the other way while Naruto had a somewhat familiar feeling going on here. That's fine with me. My cousin was like when he was little, he didn't talk much. He still doesn't. So I'm used to the silence type. Naruto remember his cousin on his mother's side of the family, his cousin Gaara, as this caused Michael to look back at Naruto, getting Myers' attention a little. What ya think of our school, newbie? Pyramid Head asked. Naruto took out his switchblade. Whenever he does, it usually gets him to think. As everyone was paying attention to how Naruto handles his switchblade, flipping it back and forward without getting cut, hard to say it's only been the first day. Naruto felt deep stares. What? Everyone was staring at him. You handled that switchblade pretty well. Esther couldn't help but smiled at the Uzumaki. Yeah, mother taught me well. He grinned. Ever used it on someone? 50. Everyone widened for a second, but their eyes returned to normal. What about you guys? Asking his teammates. 50 as well. Jason spoke with hand signs. 20. Michael wrote the number 20 on his notebook. 8. Esther spoke. Carrie didn't say anything as she never killed before. A ton. Alma spoke. I lost count of mines. Pyramid Head said. Brook Valley is a strange place. Esther chuckled with a friendly smile. You have no idea, Naruto. Brook Valley is a special place. You and mother must have done something in order to come here. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. You could say that. His first day of his new school, it wasn't as bad as he thought. Made few friends on the first day and have met very interesting people and teachers as well. Naruto wonder how the B-day would be like, only time will tell. The bell ringed, ending the first day of high school for Naruto. Naruto left his high school. He decided he would walk his way home. It was about 10 blocks, but Naruto walked far longer than this back in his old hometown. But suddenly, as Naruto was about to cross the street, a giant black trunk ran past Naruto, giving the boy nearly a heart attack. He caught a good view of the truck's license plate, Bidengu. Watch where ya going, asshole. Naruto's right eye twitched twice. Give out a warning. What is wrong with people today on the road? Naruto looked as he heard a black-colored car pulled up behind him. The car slowly pulled up, which made Naruto feel a bit nervous on who was driving it. The car was a classic-looking 70s type car, as Naruto didn't know what model it was though. The passenger seat window rolled down as it was Esther in the passenger seat, and it was Michael Myers who was the driver of the car. Need a ride? Esther smiled at Naruto. No, I'm fine, I was going to walk home. Naruto walked across the street as Esther told Michael to follow Naruto. As the car followed Naruto, speeding slowly as Esther talked with Naruto more. You sure? You do live 10 blocks away from the school. Naruto can really see Esther and Michael were trying to be his friends and give him a ride home. Naruto stopped in his tracks. He looked at the two in the car. What the hell, not why. Esther smiled as Michael unlocked the back door for Naruto. Naruto got in the back, sitting right behind Michael, after getting his seat belt on. Michael drove out in normal speed. We'll be there in few minutes. Esther told Naruto. So Esther, Michael, how long have you two been at /high? It's slasher high. This morning I saw the sign. Esther looked at the view mirror to have eye-to-eye contract with Naruto. Typo, you know how it is. People mistake things very easily. The staff forgot to put the ER in slash. I've been at slasher high for about 4 years. 4 years? Wait, then that means you're not a student. Esther smiled at first, but her smile vanished. Let's just say one test has been keeping me here for a long time. Michael has been here for 2 years. How do you two know each other? Michael stopped at a red stoplight, giving effect time for Naruto's questions to be answered. Well, during the summer break. I was delivering door-to-door cookies. Ah, Girl Scout, huh? Something like that. I sell special cookies. But anyway, one day I came to Mike's place and he buy few of my cookies, and well, Michael lives by himself, he told me. His parents went on their honeymoon and won't be back for a while. The stoplight turned green as Michael drive off as they entered Crystal Line Street. Are you two, well, you know, dating? Michael stomped on the brakes quickly as the car shake a little, which made Naruto wonder if he talked too much. Esther looked back in the back seat. Esther smiled at the young Uzumaki. You're home. Esther said in a motherly tone as Naruto looked to his left to see his house was right there. Yeah, I am. To answer your question, Mike and I are just friends. See you guys tomorrow. Naruto got out of the car. Michael soon drives off as Naruto entered his house. The moment he closed the door, he couldn't help but smiled. Elsewhere with Esther and Michael as Michael was driving Esther home. Although Michael was silenced the whole time, Esther was talking to him. That Naruto is an interesting boy. We'll have to keep a close eye on him. Don't you agree, Michael? Michael answered with a slowly nod. There was a long pause of silence until Esther hit Michael on the right shoulder. I don't have a crush on him. Michael was smiling behind his mask, which made Esther hit him again. Don't laugh, Myers. Uzumaki household. Welcome home. Kushina hugged her son. As she rubbed up his hair a little. How was your first day, honey? Kushina wanted to know the answer her son would give her. It was pretty sweet, better than I thought. I made few friends on the first day. Kushina kissed Naruto on his forehead. See, honey, I told you. Nothing to worry about. This place is a nice start for us. I won't be able to drive you to school, so you'll have to get a ride on the school bus. Or ask any of your new friend, can they give you a lift? Dinner is ready when you're hungry, honey. Thanks for telling me, Mom. I'll see what time the bus shows up. 7:06 in the morning. Wake little early to get ready. Naruto nodded his head. Don't worry, I'll be ready, Mom. Later that night, it was 8 o'clock and Naruto was in his bedroom watching TV. Until his cell phone rang, Naruto looked at who was calling him. Unknown caller. Were the words on Naruto's incoming call line. Hello. Do you like scary movies? Yeah. What's your favorite scary movie? The Thing. And who is this? It's Stan. Naruto grew a smile on his face. Hey Stan, wait, how did you get my number? I have my ways. I am a part of the text group. Text group. I'll explain tomorrow. Okay, is there any reason why you called me? Just wanted to see if this number was real and it work. Oh, okay. Hey, can't ya not give my number out to anyone else? Don't worry, I won't do such a thing. I'll see ya tomorrow, Naruto. Later, Stan. Naruto hanged up. How did he get my number? I didn't even tell him. Naruto remained silent for a moment, wondering if Stan got any connections in the school. The next day, it was 7 o'clock in the morning. Naruto sat in front of his house. Kushina was asleep while Naruto was outside waiting for the school bus to show up. Max, Naruto's beloved pet dog, was sitting beside his owner and friend. Naruto could see Jason Voorhees, who lived across the street. Jason waved at Naruto as Naruto waved back at the tall masked dream. The school slowly drives in their street. Naruto patted Max on his head and quickly ran over to the street to join Jason. Soon the school stopped by and picked up both Naruto and Jason. The bus wasn't full, there was many empty seats. As it turns out, Naruto and Jason were the first people to get picked up by the school bus. Naruto and Jason sat in the first row of the school bus. The school bus driver was a normal-looking man, only one thing was his throat had a long cut mark. Indeed, Brook Valley was a strange place. Shortly afterwards, the school bus stopped by an old-looking house. Naruto and Jason looked outside the window of the bus to see it was Carrie White. Carrie White looked tired as she let out a small yawn, of course, since it was still early in the morning. Carrie got on the bus and sat behind Jason and Naruto. Ready to begin the B-Day, Carrie? Naruto asked his new friend. Naruto looked over. Carrie nods her head. Still tired? He asked. A little, didn't get much sleep. Had to finish my homework. I don't blame ya. Soon many others were picked up by the bus driver. Out of many, Stan, Alma, Pyramid Head were one of the few. Alma sat beside Carrie and Stan and Pyramid sat a seat across from Naruto and Jason. Soon after picking up about 20 students, the bus came by the school, which was now called Slasher High. So it was a typo after all. Naruto sweat drop. After getting off the school bus, there was about 20 minutes before class begins. Naruto and his friends were in the hallway at Jason's and Stan's locker while Naruto was looking at his list of classes he will have for B-Day today. Math 8 o'clock. Art 10:07. Sex Ed 11:25. Lunch 1 o'clock. Gym 2:15. Math after art after sex ed, and the rest is the same as a day. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. Jason tapped Naruto on his left shoulder to get his attention. Naruto looked to see Jason jerking his right thumb back at Carrie and Esther. It would seem you will be in the math and art class with me and Carrie. Esther said while Carrie nodded her head. Naruto didn't mean it at all. Sure, I'm fine with that. Let's hope your brain can handle math pretty well. Esther soon smiled at her new friend. Naruto hoped he survives math class as well. After all, math wasn't his best subject in school. Soon the bell rang. Esther grabbed Naruto by his right hand as she and Carrie quickly ran down. Hey, what gives? Why are we running? We're not going to be late. Naruto told Esther and Carrie. I know, but I'd rather be in class before he shows up. Esther said. He who? Esther and Carrie as they point behind Naruto, as Naruto looked down at the end of the hallway behind them to see the same coated man who was following Naruto the other day. Oh crap, it's him again. Naruto ran off before the girls. The three made it to their math class just in time. Shortly after math class was done, Naruto looked so lost and confused at the same time. Esther and Carrie felt sorry for Naruto to suffering in math class. So much numbers, my brain really hurts. Naruto held his head while Esther patted Naruto on his back. The girls felt really sorry for Naruto. They have dealt with this math before, but Naruto, this was his first time in such a math class in Slasher High. At least you survive. Esther could help but giggle. Math is evil, pure evil, was all Naruto had to say. Room 300. Art class. The art room was almost big as the science classroom was. Much like an art room, there were many art items to uses in the classroom. Naruto felt like he really was gonna ace this class. He loved art. Everyone took their seats as the art teacher entered the room. Everyone looked around for their art teacher but didn't see her, only hear her voice. Welcome class. So nice of you all to be here on the first day of B-Day. Everyone looked down to see their teacher was a short woman. She didn't look like a normal short woman but a short woman doll woman. Her eyes were green as she had beautiful blonde hair wearing a white dress. Well class 1, I'm Tiffany Ray. I will be your art teacher this year. Ms. Tiffany spoke to her class. Hi Ms. Tiffany. Everyone spoke at the same time. Now class, today we shall begin with an easy task. I want you all to paint what comes to your mind and soul. Everyone nodded their heads. Shortly after half an hour, Tiffany was reading her favorite book. But Tiffany sat up from her hair and walked over to each of her students to see what they were doing. Tiffany was very pleased to see what her student painted. One of her students had strange way of painted a large black ring, another student painted house on a large hill. Tiffany came over to Naruto's painted, was bit amazed by one of her students' painting. Naruto's painting an eye, but now just an eye, a red colored eye. What this is wonderful thing you have there. Naruto smiled at his art teacher. Thank you Ms. Tiffany, but it's not done yet. I hadn't finished adding the final piece yet. Oh. Tiffany started. And what would the final piece would be? Naruto finishing adding the last piece right there. Tiffany looked and saw there was a person right in the eye. The person was a young man screaming in fear. Very nice, lovely touch of fear. I call the look of fear. The very look fear the person sees in the eye of their killer. The killer have perfect look within their heart, they see nothing but fear. Naruto had an evil chuckle at the end. Tiffany went over to check the other students' artwork. Ms. Tiffany loves your work and so do I. Esther said, as she was right behind Naruto. Naruto jumped a little, getting shook by Esther showing up from nowhere. Thanks Esther. It's really nothing special, just the look I saw in the look in the person who became my first kill. The look on his face was worth the kill. Naruto smiled greatly while Esther couldn't help but love Naruto's work, truly a wonderful art of blood and death. Naruto and Esther went over to check on Carrie and see what her art was. Wow. Esther said. Whoa. Naruto said. Carrie's art was a beautiful piece of art. Carrie didn't paint but she made clay art. The Carrie art was Carrie herself. Carrie didn't know what art to use, so she made herself become her work of art. Nice Carrie, really we mean it. Esther nods her head agreeing with Naruto. Carrie blushed slightly, she was glad her friend loved her work, and when Tiffany went over to see Carrie's work. Oh Carrie, you really worked hard on this, hadn't you honey? Carrie nods her slowly, feeling bit nervous because Tiffany was the teacher of the classroom. But Carrie was glad everyone liked her work of art. The bell ringed as class was over. As art class was over, Naruto departed from Esther and Carrie and told them he'll see them at lunch. The girls say goodbye to their new friend and headed off to class. Naruto made his way to his sex ed. He was wondering why wasn't sex ed with health class its usually is unless there was another reason for this. Naruto didn't care at the time as he went on to the third floor of the school. The third floor of the school had more classes than the second floor. Naruto was a bit lost on finding the class until he saw a sign that said, Sex Ed this way. Sex Ed classroom. Naruto entered his sex ed classroom. Naruto took a seat in the back, but was surprised when he saw Alma Wade was in the sex ed class like him. Naruto pretty much had a feel of knowing from his past sex ed class in his own school, but this wouldn't be different, he thought. The class had about 20 students, and with Naruto and Alma that would make it 22 students in the classroom. Naruto waited for the teacher to show up. But Naruto, along with everyone else in the schoolroom, started to feel very sleepy for some unknown reason. Naruto tried to keep his eyes open. Naruto got out of his seat, but only to fall down to his knees and crash down. Naruto's dreams. Naruto found himself in the classroom, but there was something a little off. The background was nothingness at first, and there was fire underneath everyone. Everyone held on to their seats and desk for dear life. Okay, what the hell? Naruto said. Suddenly the floor was fire. Floors were replaced by the normal classroom solid floors. Naruto looked up front to see there was a woman, about somewhere in her 20s or so. She was heavy pregnant with child. Naruto wasn't sure what was going on. The woman lay down on the teacher and started to moan in pain as the students' eyes widened in shock to see the woman's stomach was moving in a very creepy manner. They could see a face and hands as if the child within her was ready to bust out. The woman let a powerful scream that made Naruto and all those who had human ears to cover their ears. The woman's stomach bust open as everyone was covered in blood. Everyone paused as they couldn't believe what just happened. Out from the woman's stomach was a man. His skin was red-colored mostly because he was burned badly. His eyes were blue-colored. He had no hat. He was wearing black tech suit. His right hand he wore gloves with blade fingers. Welcome to sex ed, bitches. The man shouted as he laughed loudly afterwards. Naruto instantly opened his eyes, forcing himself to wake up as everyone did. Naruto couldn't believe it, nor did everyone else. As they were still covered in blood, and also the pregnant was still there on the teacher desk. The burned man turned his attention to the pregnant woman whose stomach was still cut open. Thank you, Sarah. That will be all. You may go to your class. Sarah rose up from the desk. Anytime, Mr. Kruger. Sarah open cut wound closed up. She left the classroom, leaving Mr. Kruger to deal with his new students this year. Welcome to sex ed, you little virgin shits. I will be your sex ed teacher. You all may call me Freddy Krueger or Mr. Kruger or Mr. Freddy. Freddy snapped his left hand fingers as instantly a brown hat appeared on top of Freddy's head. Freddy grinned at all of his students and took a deep smell in the air. Well, half of you little shits are virgins. But you're little shits to me. Freddy laughed. I hate to fall asleep in this class. Naruto sweat drop as he really hated to think of that. Freddy looked at each of the students in the classroom, from the strange to the normal looking. Freddy let out a very creepy and evil chuckle. All right, children. Today we shall be watching a movie on how to the right way. And afterwards I shall give each of you a special project. The lights were turned off and Freddy pushed a large screen TV in front of the class. Naruto sighed as he knew where this was going. Naruto already know all about and the love between the male and female. Naruto didn't really pay no mind to that was being played in the classroom. Naruto noticed he got a text message by someone. Hey Naruto, it's me Stan. What is it? Need your help during lunch. Tell me, do you have a good voice? Yeah, I used to be a part of a huge group in my music class. Oh great, I'll see you in lunch then later. Laughing face. Stan ending his message with a sideways smiling face, which made Naruto chuckle a little, unaware a pair of eyes were focused on him. Naruto felt he was being watched, but by whom he wasn't sure. Naruto looked at that was being played. Naruto quickly closed his eyes of the horror image that was on screen. What the hell? He didn't tell he was showing his honeymoon video. Oh shit, my eyes. Great, it's burn in my mind, just great. Think of something else. A voice reached out to Naruto's mind. Naruto opened his eyes and looked around the room. Who? Think of something else if it bothers you so much. The voice again spoke to Naruto. After that was over and 10 minutes of class was still in play. Everyone listen up to what Mr. Kruger had to say to everyone. So how did you all feel after watching my honeymoon video with my ex-wife? The sound of everyone groaning and the sound of one student throwing up was more than enough to answer Freddy's question as Freddy Krueger laughed evilly. He's sick, he's really sick. Naruto thought to himself. I heard that Uzumaki. I can hear your thoughts. And remember class, don't even think of falling asleep or I'll make sure this class will be your nightmare. Freddy pointed at the back, which surprised Naruto. The bell was about to ring. Freddy quickly thought to himself for a moment. Alright class, next time we will go over the special project you all will be doing. If you don't you will fail. The bell ringed as the sign of freedom for everyone. Upon leaving the class, Naruto felt someone tap him on the shoulder. Naruto looked back to see it was Alma Wade who was holding his math book. You almost forgot this. Alma spoke in a shy but kind tone of voice. Naruto grabbed his math book and smiled at Alma, although he couldn't see past Alma's beautiful black hair that covered her eyes from Naruto's sights. Thank you Alma. Hey Alma, since we're in the same gym class, do you want to eat lunch with me and the others? Alma nods her, slowly accepting his offer of having lunch with her with his new friends. Lunch hour. Once entering the lunch room, Naruto quickly heard Stan calling him over to a table, a fresh table, that lot of room to sit. Naruto and Alma went over to the table and sat down. Stan, you needed my help, what ya need? Asking his new friend, Stan sees that Alma Wade was with Naruto. Hey, Naruto, who's the chick? Stan wrapped his right arm around Naruto's neck, drawing him close. Wow, you're really working your way quick. Got a girlfriend so soon? Stan joked. Stan, she isn't my girlfriend. She's my new friend Alma. Naruto turned to see Alma's cheeks were blushing red for a few moments. Stan laughed. Relax, just messing with ya anyway, I need your help. You say you have a good voice. A friend of mine and his friends need their equipment checked and they're not good singers, so you would care to help. Sure, why not? It's been a while since I sang my lungs out. Naruto grinned. Backstage, Naruto was helping Stan and his friends with the equipment and testing out the mic. Stan's friends were a tall girl with long black hair much like Alma, but her hair was much longer. Her name was Sadako. Stan's second friend was a guy wearing warm clothes along with a green jacket with an orange-colored mask on his head. Testing 1, 2, 3 testing. The mic was working as Stan's friends pulled out a drum sets and few guitars. Guys, what are you doing? Naruto asked. Relax, you said you had a good voice. So let's test it out. Stan chuckled with delight. He really wanna see if Naruto did had a wonderful voice. I don't know. Come on, don't chicken out on us. Come on, think of it. You will win a lot of people's favor and also get a lot of chicks' phone number as well. You'll be famous here, and being famous is a good thing. Fine, you win. You heard him, boys, let's set things up before lunch is over. Stan's friends quickly set everything, and within 3 minutes everything was fully set. The stage curtains opened. Naruto saw all eyes were on him as everyone wanted and wondered what was going on and why was the new guy on stage. Alright Naruto, don't screw up and remember during the days of your music class. It started with the heavy set of the drums being played, followed by guitars. And soon Naruto started to sing. Paint it black and white if you like. The story's still the same. A generation built on a lie, that every one of us is safe. Paint it black and white if like. If it keeps you sane. You know the world just ain't right. So tell me, who's to blame? And I will catch you, but you break the fall. Goddamn, I might be the son of Sam. The only child of a holy man. I stand alone for all to see. 'Cause they ain't never seen a war like me. Goddamn son of Sam. Son of Sam. Burning buildings from above. Send the best, and send their love. Turn away. Goodbye. Good night. Go to sleep. Now don't cry. Are afraid you're mean less. Are you concerned you might be next? It's much too soon for to tell. If you're in heave or in hell. And I will catch you, but you might break the fall. Goddamn, I might be the son of Sam. The only child of a holy man. I stand alone for all to see. 'Cause they ain't never seen a war like me. Goddamn, son of Sam. Goddamn, son of Sam. Goddamn. During the middle of the song, Naruto's eyes looked dark and serious as if there was something he didn't like or a part of the song he remembers from his past. Your ceiling falling piece by pieces. Raining down like concrete. Just surrender, and remember what you've done to me. Look now, over your shoulder. No, it's not over. It's just beginning. And now I write the final ending. Goddamn, I might be the son of Sam. The only child of a holy man. I stand alone for all to see. 'Cause they ain't never seen a war like me. Goddamn, I might be the son of Sam. The only child of a holy man. I stand alone for all to see. 'Cause they ain't never seen a war like me. Son of Sam. Son of Sam. 'Cause they ain't never seen a war like me. Son of Sam. Son of Sam. 'Cause they ain't never seen a war like me. Son of Sam. Son of Sam. 'Cause they ain't never seen a war like me. Son of Sam. Son of Sam. 'Cause they ain't never seen a war like me. The song ends on the last beats of the drums. There was a long pause of silence shortly after Naruto sang one of his favorite songs. Naruto looked a bit nervous as he wondered what would everyone think of his singing. But soon the sound of cheers and hands clapping were filled in the lunch room. Naruto bowed his head to everyone. Thank you, enjoy the rest of your meal and your day. The stage curtains closed up. So what ya guys? Naruto asking the guys. Dude, you got some good lungs. You sang like a raven out there. They loved it. Stan patted Naruto on his back. Naruto, you so have to sing for us, when prom and homecoming comes around. Naruto laughed at first. Well, I am sure I won't be the only one on stage singing. Ah, of course, we need to find the beauty to be singing with you. Stan gave Naruto a soft jab to the face. Come on, let's go, I'm hungry. 7 minutes later, Naruto sat down at the table Stan and his friends sitting down on. To Naruto's right was Alma and in front of Naruto was Esther, and to Esther's left and right were Jason and Michael. Everyone was enjoying their meal while few students walked by Naruto telling, "You rock, you did great, nice voice. I'm so jealous. Well, aren't you Mr. Popular of the day?" Esther said while eating her sandwich. Naruto sweat dropped for a bit. Naruto was only singing, nothing more. He was asked to do a favor, nothing more. Well, yeah, being popular isn't all that. Trust me, it's not really worth it in the end. Naruto remember what being popular got Sasuke in the end as Naruto chuckle in his mind. But there are different of being popular here. Either you're fresh meat popular or just popular, and there's dead meat popular. Stan explained to Naruto, as of right now you are fresh meat popular. Oh joy. Naruto joked around as the bell rang. Gym class. Everyone was dressed up in their gym uniforms. All were ready for gym class. Their teacher Mr. Redfield told them to do 10 laps around the gym room. Jason and Michael were fast walkers while everyone was running while they power, super fast walk. Esther was shorter than everyone else, but she was a fast runner. So Naruto, did you have a girlfriend back home? Esther's question made Naruto bit little worry on why would she be asking him that. Naruto was being careful of how he answer questions as such one of this questions on his past. Well, I didn't have an actually girlfriend, just girls who were my friends. Why do you want to know? Naruto raised his right eyebrow wondering what Esther was up to. No reason, we're all teammates here, it's only fair to know more about you. Esther's friendly smile made Naruto smiled right back at her. Unknowing Alma Wade was behind the two. Alma had her eyes set on Naruto as she too wanna know about his past. I wasn't really popular with the ladies or anything else, I was the quiet kid at my school. Was all Naruto had to say. Family. Alma asked behind Naruto. My family isn't big. Kushina, my mother. My dad died before I came here. I have my cousin Gara. The rest of my family is either dead, or no longer except me or my mother after what I did at my school. Death can change a people from being friendly and good-hearted to a person who just wants to be left alone. My father is dead. My best friend killed herself because the guy she was in love never loved or wanted her. He used her for his own game, and my hometown wanted me dead. I'm surprised you're normal. Normally, I would be crazy, a complete psychopath, right? I still have the family that help and needs me. Max and my mother is all I need to be me. Quote, how about we go out after school, you, me, and everyone else? Esther asked. See the rest of the town, huh? Sure, that doesn't look so bad. A smile appeared on Naruto's face. As the bell rang, forming the sign of class ending, and the rest of the school hours were over and the after-school program were now starting. Girls' locker room. Esther was putting her shoes on while Alma was brushing her hair while looking at herself in her locker mirror. I know you like Naruto. Esther said. Alma didn't say anything, only blushed. Esther grew a grin on her face. But I can help you. I can get him to like you. Why are you helping me? Don't you like him as well? Honey, it's just a small crush. I see in your eyes. You have a crush on him, a big one. Was it because of his voice? He has an angel voice. Esther laughed as Alma shook her head. I think he's really cute, and he's really sweet guy. He doesn't seem to be annoying or rude. Having a crush on someone because of their looks is one, the second being their personality and third being a nice guy. Honey, you've been struck by all three. Esther was a bit surprised the reason why Alma liked Naruto, but right now it was a crush, nothing too serious. Outside of Slasher High, Naruto, Jason, Michael, Carrie, Esther, Alma, Pyramid Head were now outside of Slasher High. Sorry guys, but I got after school to do. Jason told everyone as everyone was okay with it. What class is that? Naruto asked. Target Partis, and I have to help the weapon club. Good luck. Suddenly there was a loud honk sound that nearly spooked everyone. Carrie looked back to see it was her mother driving the car. Carrie at first looked disappointed. Sorry guys, but I have Bible study. I'll see you tomorrow. That's okay Carrie. It will be just me, Naruto, Alma and Michael then. PH is waiting for Nurse and V. Esther explains. Carrie left with her mother, leaving the four friends alone in the front of the school. Naruto was sitting down on the sidewalk while playing his switchblade. Michael sat beside Naruto doing nothing, just waiting. Esther and Alma were finishing up their class homework before they could have some fun. Mike, get your car, it's time for after-school fun. Esther grinned. Naruto smiled at the idea of what the rest of the town of Brook Valley had. And most of all will be fun and wrath it in the end. Naruto, Esther, Alma and Michael were inside Michael's car driving to show Naruto the rest of Brook Valley since he hasn't seen all of it yet. Naruto and Alma were sitting in the back of the car while Esther was up front with Michael. Suddenly Naruto's cell phone went off. Hello. He answers. Naruto, it's me honey. Oh hey mom, what is it? Where are you? Oh, I'm hanging with my new friends. Oh okay, I was wondering while you're with your friends. You could pick up milk, eggs and chicken from the store. I can't make dinner without them. Yeah sure thing, I'll pick those up. Kushina hanged up, so did Naruto. Mother worry about her son? Esther asked with a big smirk on her face. Kind of, she wanted me to pick up milk, eggs and chicken so she can make dinner for tonight. Is there a store nearby? Naruto asked. Esther nodded her head. Of course, Mike, we shall head towards K-Mark first before we can have our fun. Michael nodded his head. He made a tight turn to the right to get in the right pathway to K-Mark. K-Mark. Aren't you guys coming? Naruto asked Esther and Michael. Oh no, go ahead, we'll wait here for you to come back. Beside, you know what to get. Don't take too long, you two. Esther grinned. Naruto sweat drop on the tone of voice Esther was speaking, it was almost motherly like. Naruto and Alma went inside the K-Mark to find milk, eggs and chicken for dinner. Naruto looked around to see there was a different type of people walking around looking for things to shop as well. Interesting people and creator they were. It didn't bother Naruto that much though. Alma was enjoying her little moment with Naruto and that she was helping Naruto out, thinking that would get her closer to him. Alma was holding a small cart bag for Naruto to put the item he needed into the cart bag. Chicken, 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 where's the chicken? Naruto looked around the aisle 9. Naruto went right by the wall of frozen chicken. Alma sweat drop while seeing Naruto just walked by like it wasn't even there. Naruto. Naruto, you. Alma sighed at first but grabbed the frozen wrapped up chicken in the cart. Alma caught up with Naruto, who just found the fresh cold kept milk and eggs. Oh Alma, you found the chicken, thanks. Naruto grinned. Alma nodded her head unknowing to Naruto. Alma's face slightly blushed red. Naruto put the eggs and milk in the cart. As the two walked together to the line of waiting, Naruto looked at the small book display. Naruto looked at one of the magazine book that caught his attention the most were what was on it on the front cover. Loving the Dead Volume 5. Dracula sues creator of Twilight. Zombies are growing smarter. Man and undead wife have healthy human baby girl. This place is strange, but my kind of strange. A friendly smile appeared on Naruto's face. Uzumaki and Wade. A familiar voice shout out to get Naruto's and Alma's attention. Naruto and Alma looked back behind them to see their teacher Freddy Krueger standing right behind them. Freddy was wearing normal clothes of his, fitting a red and green colored sweater with black jeans. He wasn't wearing his hat either, nor did he have his glove claws. Freddy was holding in his cart box of Red Bull beer and wine, and also an item that caught Alma and Naruto off guard, a DVD box set of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Season 1. Naruto and Alma sweat dropped. They were speechless. They weren't sure what to say at all. Freddy snapped them out of the blank stare look on their faces when he spoke to them. "What y'all looking at?" "Nothing, Mr. Kruger, just surprised to see you here," Naruto said. Freddy had a smirk on his face. "I suppose so. I see you two are shopping together. Good, I suppose this will be a good helping for the upcoming project I will be giving you and everyone else in class." "Project, what is it?" Naruto asked. Freddy waved his right index finger at the two. "Nah, I won't spoil the surprise." Freddy grinner afterwards, which made Alma and Naruto worried on what he had in store for them. Next, the cash register personally spoke. Naruto and Alma walked up, placing their items up for the cash register personally. "That will be $45.60. Naruto paid in cash. "We'll be seeing soon Uzumaki and Wade." Freddy smiled. Naruto smiled back. "Will do, Mr. Kruger. Hey, I didn't know you were a brony." Freddy jerked back with a confused look on his face as Naruto pointed at the DVD he had in his cart. "Got it wrong, kid. My mother is into this shit." "Oh, I'm sure she is. I believe ya, my mother is pony fan too. I pity you." "So do I." Naruto and Alma left together as Freddy couldn't help but smiled as he watched Naruto and Alma. "You can play it dumb, kid. You and Ms. Wade are a pair." Freddy chuckled. Outside of Kmart, Michael popped open the trunk of his car, letting Naruto place his things into the car. Once Naruto was done, he closed the trunk and got inside the car with Alma as Michael drove off quick. Michael made a tight left turn to get back in the street. "Slow down, Mike, I hadn't even put my seat belt on," Naruto yelled. Michael made another tight right turn. Naruto was tossed to his right as he fell on Alma's lap. His head was between her legs. Naruto's blush when he got a nice view of Alma's panties. "I'm sorry, Alma, I didn't mean to." Esther looked at the middle view mirror, seeing an embarrassed Naruto and a shy blushing Alma. "It's okay, Naruto. Step 1 is underway," Esther thought to herself. "Slow down, Mike, don't want us to get pulled over, do ya? We'll stop by Naruto's place to drop off the stuff for his mother, then we'll have our fun," Esther said to Michael. Michael rolled his eyes and did as Esther asks. Uzumaki's resident. Michael stopped in front of Naruto's house. Naruto got out of the car to see his pet dog Max was out on the front yard, being the good guard dog he is. Max ran towards Naruto only to bark happily at his young master. Naruto patted Max on the head as Max licked Naruto's right hand and again barked happily. Kushina opened the front door, walking towards Naruto and his new friends. "Welcome home, young man." "And who are they?" Kushina grinned. "Everyone, this is my mother, Kushina Uzumaki. The best mom one can ask for." Naruto introduced his friends to his awesome mother. "You're making me blush." Kushina blushed slightly. "Now I see you get your likeness from," Esther said. Esther bowed her head. "Pleasure to meet you. I'm Esther." "Wonderful manners you have, young lady." Kushina crossed her arms over her chest with a friendly smile. "I'm Alma Wade." Alma introduces herself as well. "Nice to meet you, Alma, and who's your masked friend?" Kushina stared at Michael. "That would be Michael Myers. Don't mind him, he doesn't talk much, a real silence type." Esther whispered to Kushina about Michael while Michael popped opens the truck to get the bags. Michael hand over the bags to Kushina. "Thank you, Mr. Myers. Would you all care to stay over? I'll make dinner for you all. Actually, we were planning to see the rest of the town," Naruto said. "Oh," Kushina said with a little surprised look on her face. "Have fun then, but don't be come home too late, Naruto. I am sure all of you have class tomorrow." "Don't, Ms. Kushina, we'll be just fine," Esther spoke. Kushina nodded her head. "Well, have fun and don't drink while having fun. Last time I needed is hearing my son in a little car crush the next day. I do mean it." Kushina suddenly had a scary evil look in her eyes. A look so scary even Michael felt creep out. Kushina took the bags inside the house to make dinner for tonight while the small group entered Michael's car. "She's awesome," Alma spoke as Esther agreed. "That's my mom." Naruto chuckled. "You're so lucky to have one like her." "I'm jealous." Esther smiled. Michael was silent as he started up the car. "Yeah, she did look very scary, but she's still awesome, Michael." Esther spoke. "Sorry if my mother creeped you out, Mike." Naruto rubbed the back of his head while sweat dropping. Michael looked at the back view mirror looking at Naruto. Michael said it's okay. We should bring the whole gang next time. Esther spoke for Michael. Naruto didn't mind it at all. Naruto had his seat belt on this time. As he relaxed more since Michael wasn't going over the speed limits this time. But he still had those tight turns of his. Esther, do Mike have his driver's license right? She didn't know, but it didn't matter right now. Mike was driving and he was their ride for tonight. Naruto felt a little worry since his life was in Michael's skills of driving. Alma reached out and touched Naruto's right shoulder as her friendly smile made Naruto feel more relaxed. Brook Valley. Main Street. The main street of Brook Valley, a normal-looking main street it was. Down from there was City Hall, the mall, a movie theater and many others. Mike was looking for a parking spot to park the car. While looking for a parking space, Naruto looked back to see the rest of the town, but while doing so Naruto's eyes widen in, it's the truck again. Naruto sweat drop as he wonders what the driver of the truck was up to as it drive pretty close to Mike's car. Something wrong, Naruto? Esther asked. Yeah, the truck that nearly ran me over. Naruto jerked his head back. Michael looked at the view mirror of his left to see the truck was very close. But the truck just drove around them as if there was something wrong. But it didn't matter, it wasn't their problem. After a few minutes they found a perfect parking space at the movie theater. All right everyone, where to start first? Naruto asked. Esther quickly thought up a perfect idea for Naruto and Alma to get closer. How about we go to the movies? Esther smiled afterwards. Naruto liked the idea as he gave a big nod agreeing with that idea as the four walked together to the movie theater. This is your chance to get that boy liking you, Alma. Esther whispered to Alma. I don't know, Esther, I don't want to force it so quickly. Alma whispered back. Don't chicken out, honey. I am sure that boy got feelings for you too. Esther chuckled. Naruto looked back at the two ladies. Hey, what movie should we see? The four looked up in front of the movie theater to see the names of the movies they had for today. There were a few movie titles that didn't caught Naruto's attention. But there was one title that caught his attention. Didn't know they had a new The Thing movie. How about we go see that? Nice pick, Esther said. Naruto grinned. Better than any Twilight movie, I tell ya. I still don't see how those young girls are so into those typed of movies. Esther let out a disappointed sign. You're not a fan. Esther shook her head. I'm not a fan either. Alma spoke. Thank God, even my mother hates it. Naruto smiled. I don't like the books and I don't like the movies. I don't see why it's in the horror selection, it's not even scary. Esther had angry looked. Unless you're afraid of vampire who sparkle. Michael rolled his eyes and made an noise. Yeah, I agree, let's stop talking and let go watch some movies. Esther grinned happily. Inside the movie theater. Once inside the movie theater, inside there was many people inside the building. The movie theater was rather large for its size. Zombies, werewolves, other series killers and magical beings were there standing in line to get the tickets for the movie they wanted to see. Waiting in line for 5 minutes, the four got their tickets for 2011 version of The Thing. Esther and Michael watched as Alma was going to buy some popcorn but didn't have enough money to buy the popcorn. Sorry, Ms. Wade, but if you don't have the money I can't give it to you, spoke a young human male. Alma frowned, but Naruto took out $10. I'll buy it. Don't worry, Alma. Alma smiles a little as she nods her head, grateful of Naruto's kindness. Looks like it's working. Esther giggled delightfully. Michael stared at the two. Oh, please don't worry, I am sure Naruto would make a great boyfriend for Alma. Quote. I am not forcing them into a relationship quickly. Alma likes him even though he's new, but still. Quote. So what if I am acting motherly? Got a problem, Myers? Esther glared at the masked teen. Naruto was carrying 2 large-size popcorns while Alma was holding 2 large-size sodas as the four went to the area where The Thing was playing. While walking toward the area, Alma was walking with a big smile on her face. Esther's plan was working fine so far. She was winning Naruto bit by bit. Suddenly, while walking by 2 male humans, one of them stepped their foot out to trip Alma up, causing her to drop the soda onto the floor. Alma's dress was now rude now. Alma looked greatly upset. Oh, so sorry about that. One of the 2 human men laughed. Naruto glared at the two as Naruto passed his and Alma's popcorn to Michael. Naruto helped Alma up from the floor. Naruto snapped an angry glare at the two men who were laughing at Alma. Hey, what your freaking problem? You think it's funny? Naruto yelled at the two men. Yeah, what ya gonna do about it? They said to Naruto. Naruto made a growling noise as he was ready to kick some even here in his new hometown. You better say you're sorry or else. Naruto warned them. And if we say no, I'm gonna make you say you're sorry. Naruto balled up his hands into fists as his knuckles cracked when he made them into a fist. Like hell, you're just a new here, you think you're big shit, huh? One of the men had an angry look on his face. Say you're sorry or my fists will make you. Naruto glared seriously. Yeah, well, I said you, how's that? Bam, bam. The two men fell down quickly as Naruto's fist knocked them down. Both of them had bleeding noses. While Naruto glaring down at them with a death stare in his eyes, don't waste my time beating you to an inch of your life. Say you're sorry now. We're sorry, please don't hit us anymore, please. They begged for their lives. Naruto turned away as they gave double middle fingers at Naruto as he turned his back on them. Naruto quickly turned around as they screamed in agony. Naruto was holding his switchblade as he cut off both of their middle fingers of both of their hands. As they ran off telling Naruto they will get their revenge on him. Waste of my time, asshole. Naruto put his switchblade back in his right back pocket as he turned his attention back to his friends. My clothes. Alma frowned. Don't worry, Alma, I am sure it'll come out. We got 10 minutes before the movie starts, so why don't you go and clean up? I'll go buy us another soda. Naruto's smile made Alma feel much better and the whole little mess seemed so small now. Come on, Alma, let's go and get you fix up. Esther and Alma walked off to the women's bathroom. Naruto went off to buy 2 large-size sodas while the girls were in the ladies' room fixing up Alma's clothes. Once the girls came back from the restroom, the boys were waiting for them. Once that mess was out of the way, the 4 entered the area where the thing was playing. The 4 got perfect sits up on the highest row of seats. Naruto and Alma share one of the popcorns and soda while Michael and Esther share theirs. Esther's and Michael's relationship was nothing serious, just normal friendly relationship. Naruto started to really liked Alma, he find her to be cute and sweet. Alma on the other hand really liked Naruto, having a crush on him. While Alma was drinking the soda they were sharing, Alma caught a quick overheard Naruto whisper, "She's really cute." Alma slightly blushed when she heard him say those words. As the movie started, everyone sit back and relax as the movie played. Everyone was enjoying the movie, but while in the middle of the movie, there were few moments that made the females in the theater jumped as they hold on to their boyfriends or male friends' arms. Naruto easily saw through Esther's plan as Alma hold on to Naruto's right arm. Naruto didn't mind what the girls were planning, he was enjoying the movie along with them. Shortly after the movie was over, as everyone was leaving but not without, everyone heard Naruto shouted. Yeah, that was awesome. Naruto pumped his fist into the air. But Naruto sat down back when he saw everyone what he was doing as he quickly sat down with a small embarrassed blush on his face. Naruto chuckled afterwards as Alma smiled at Naruto giving a kiss on his right cheek. Outside the movie theater. Ah, what a great movie, I love it. What ya guys think? Naruto let out a small yawn while stretching his arms out. Mike said he loved it. It was alright with me, what about you, Alma? Esther turns looking at the shy long black hair teen. It was nice but scary. But I wasn't so scared, Naruto was there. Alma admit her feelings on the movie. Naruto's mouthful grin show the things Esther's worked and that Alma got Naruto liking her. Michael stared at Naruto and Alma and looked at Esther as everyone was ready to leave the movie theater. I told ya it would work. Esther whispered to Michael. Michael had a friendly smile hiding behind his mask. Parking lot. I'll see you guys later. Naruto turned away as he was about to walk. Oh, come on. There's no way you can walk the entire way to your house. Esther stared at Naruto while everyone else also stared at Naruto. Naruto chuckled as he sweat dropped. Oh, come on guys, can't ya take a joke? Naruto grinned. It doesn't look like you were joking. Alma said as everyone agreed with Alma with a nod. Naruto sweat drop. I'm sorry, just stop staring at me. Naruto looked away as he follows everyone to Michael's car. Naruto and Alma once again were in the back of the car. Michael decided to drop Naruto off first since his house was the closest out of the 4. Naruto still worried about the fact, did Michael have his driver's license or not? Naruto really liked the friends he has made here in Brook Valley. Naruto felt Alma's left hand resting on his right thigh. Naruto looked at the shy beautiful teen. Naruto never had a girlfriend, only a girl who was his friend. Maybe here he can finally have one and this time won't lose her to some jerk who thinks he's all that. Hey Alma, I know you and I barely know each one for some time, but would you? Alma felt her heart skipped a beat as this was the moment Alma was waiting for. At last she will have a boyfriend, a nice guy to bring home to meet her parents. But before Naruto could get to the main point, the sound of a truck honking was heard. Michael and everyone looked back to see it was the same trunk from earlier. The truck was right on there. Michael tried to let the trunk pass them, but the truck stayed right behind them. The trunk hit the bumper of Mike's car and was trying to run them off the road. Mike put his driving skills to the test and somehow got the truck off their tail for a few minutes. But the truck speeded up and smashed right into the back of the car as Michael turned to his right as the car flipped over on the road about 4 times. Michael's car smashed into an old abandoned building. The car was hanging sideways on the right side. The car fell down on the left side as the car shook. There was a deep silence through the cold bless of the night. Broken glass and blood was everywhere in and out of the car. Naruto opened his eyes to find himself bleeding from the head. There was a large piece of glass in Naruto's right forearm and his left thigh. Naruto took the glass out from his left thigh and right forearm. Naruto looked around to see what happened. Naruto saw Michael's face was covered in an airbag. Esther had cuts on her face but nothing serious or life-threatening. Naruto looked at Alma to see she was alright, but she had a large piece of glass going through her stomach. Mike, wake up. Mike, wake up. Naruto tried to get Michael to wake up. Naruto looked back to make sure that big unknown truck wasn't coming back. Naruto didn't hear anything from Michael, believing he was killed made Naruto bit worry on Esther's and Alma's state. Opened the back door and pulled Alma out of the car. Naruto lay Alma down on her back. Naruto went back to get Esther out of the car. Shortly after Naruto got Esther out of the car, suddenly Michael raised his head up to see Naruto was calling 911, telling the police where they were. Michael got out of the car and just like the others, Michael was pretty banged up but had no pieces of glass on his body. Naruto and Michael saw the truck that ran them off the road was sitting there a corner of a street. As the sound of the police and ambulance were heard, the truck drove off, but not before Naruto caught a good view of the driver's eyes. The driver's eyes were dark blue and a grin filled with sharp teeth. Brook Valley Hospital. Brook Valley Hospital was an odd-looking hospital, but still a hospital nonetheless. They had doctors, nurses working up and down, left and right. Everyone had a doctor there to help the sick, do checks up and many others. Naruto was in a room with a nurse who had blank face as there was nothing on her face, no eyes, no nose, no mouth, as the faceless nurse was wrapping bandages around Naruto's right forearm and another nurse wrapping bandages around his left thigh as the doctor was speaking with him as the nurses were finishing packing Naruto up. Now Mr. Uzumaki, your wounds aren't serious as Ms. Wade or Ms. Smith. You and Mr. Myers will need to sign few papers before we can let ya go. The doctor explains to Naruto, as Michael was in the room resting his back against the wall of the room. Will Esther and Alma be okay? Naruto asked. Yes, they will be okay. Ms. Smith has a broken left arm but few cuts on her face, she will be fine. As for Ms. Wade, she will be fine, we just removed the piece of glass from her stomach. We have the best doctor, Ms. Wade's surgery should be over right about now. You can visit her in room 17. The doctor said to both Naruto and Michael as the two were glad to hear the good news. Paging Dr. Killjoy. Paging Dr. Killjoy, you are needed in room 56. The voice on the head nurse was heard. Ah, there is another soul that is in need of my work. Do please take care of yourself, Mr. Uzumaki. The last thing your mother needs is a heart attack. With that said and done, Dr. Killjoy left the room along with his faceless nurses. Naruto got off the table and started to limping as he walked out of the room. Michael and Naruto looked around the hospital to find it truly strange and odd. There were many people here and yet each of them had a doctor for them right away. Naruto saw a girl with an axe smashed down on her forehead, yet the main wound was her right hand was cut off. Michael saw a man on fire was in the waiting room reading a book as the book was caught on fire as he read it. For once I love the hospital. Naruto spoke as Michael agreed with a big nod. Alright, let's go find the girls. Michael nodded his head once more. There you boys are. Naruto and Michael looked back to see Esther, who was wearing the hospital patient's clothes, which was a dark green t-shirt with green shorts along with a blue robe. Seeing Esther's left arm was in case, Naruto frowned. What's with the long face? You think broken arm will keep me from hanging with you? Think again. Esther smiled. Have you seen Alma? Naruto asked. No Naruto, I hadn't seen your girlfriend. Okay, let's go see where she is. Suddenly Naruto paused as he felt caught right into Esther's trap. It's too late to act now. Come on lover boy, let's go find Alma. Esther walked Naruto as Michael follows Esther. Naruto sighed but smiled afterwards. Naruto and Esther. Michael peeked around a corner to see Alma's room was down the hallway. But however, there was one problem. There was 2 guards standing at the door. The 2 guards was dressed in black color armored, both were wearing a mask. Who are them? Naruto asked. Esther slapped her forehead with her right hand. Oh, just great, he's here. He who? Alma's father Harlan Wade, that's who. Esther frowned as Naruto looked back, the 2 guards guarding the door. Naruto could hear someone inside the room yelling and also someone yelling back. Something tells me Alma and her father don't see eye to eye. Yeah, Alma hates her family, a lot. Naruto, I don't think it's a good time to see Alma right now. I'll tell her you wanted to see her. You boys go on home, I am sure your mother is here, Naruto looking for you. Both Michael and Naruto didn't want to leave Esther and Alma here alone in the hospital. Naruto protest. I can stand, it's just be one day of missing school. Naruto smile followed by a grin. Esther shook her head. No, you go now. Trust me, you don't want to get in the middle of this right now. I'm sure the last thing Alma wants, is you and her father at each other's throats. Naruto sighed at defeat. Fine, but I'm coming to see you too once I'm done with class. Don't worry, I am sure we'll see you and Michael tomorrow. Esther sent both Naruto and Michael off as if they were her children. It would seem Slasher High won't be the only thing fun hanging with that young man. Esther grinned motherly like. It was the very next day. Naruto was dropped off by his mother Kushina. Naruto still looked banged up from what happened last night. Everyone was looking at him as they wonder what happened and why he looked like he came from a big fight. As school hours were over, Naruto and Michael was about to go and visit Alma and Esther in the hospital. But before the two could leave the school grounds, a car showed up in front of the school. The two knew bit worry of who was in the nice-looking car. The car window rolled down as it was Ms. Voorhees, Jason's mother. Hello boys. Ms. Voorhees smiled. Both Naruto and Michael waved at the friendly mother of their friend. Waiting for Jason, Ms. Voorhees? Naruto asked Pamela. Pamela nodded her head. Yes, do you know where he is? Oh, he's still in school checking his locker, last time I saw him. Naruto said, as suddenly Jason walked out from the front door of the school. Jason waved at his mother and waved goodbye to his friends, hoping Alma and Esther are fine and wish Naruto and Michael good luck. Brook Valley Hospital. Alma's room. Alma Wade was alone in her room. Alma had a heavy frown look on her face. Her father Harlan Wade was angry that the fact Alma got hurt. Alma told her father it wasn't her friend's fault, but Harlan didn't believe her, threatened to tell that he will ban her from seeing her friends again and be homeschool. There was a knock on the door. Alma glared at the closed door with a mean glare as the door suddenly opened by itself. It was Esther, who was at the door with Naruto and Michael at her side. Alma gasps with a surprised yet happy look as she got out of her bed as she ran towards her friends. The first to be hugged by Alma was Naruto, then Esther, and lately Michael. How are you feeling, Alma? Naruto smiled as Alma shyly looked at the ground as she blushed. I'm fine, doctors say I'll be out within 3 days. The glass didn't cut too deep. My father, he worried too much. Alma looked at Naruto with a happy smile as Esther and Michael left the room without Alma noticing them, left leaving Naruto and Alma alone together. Naruto gently brushed Alma's hair to the left so he could have a good view of her eyes as he grabbed Alma's hands as he looked at Alma's beautiful dark red eyes. Alma, before I could have the chance to say this, but Naruto paused for a minute. Yes. Naruto grinned for a second. I didn't have such luck getting a girlfriend. I know we just met for only a few days and I don't want to rush things. But Alma, I like you, I really like you, and I know you really like me. So Alma, would you? But before Naruto got a chance to say those words, Alma wanted to hear from Naruto's lips. Esther and Michael quickly entered the room. Naruto, let's go. Alma's dad is on his way. Sorry Alma, but we'll see you when E's aren't here. Alma frowned at first but soon smiled as she nodded her head. Michael grabbed Naruto and ran out of the room with Esther as the three left just in time as Harlan made it to the corner of the hallway before he got a chance to see the three. Alma would have to wait for that special moment she so desires, but it was worth the wait. Later that night, Uzumaki resident. Naruto lay there on his bed with a large smile on his face. Alma, would you be my girlfriend? Yeah, that's it, Naruto. I am sure she will say yes. Besides, she's really cute. I am sure mom will love her. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. Yes. The door opened as it was his mother Kushina who came in. Naruto, I want to talk with you. Kushina spoke with a sad frown as Naruto had a feeling it was going to relate what happened the other night. Naruto sighed before he spoke to his mother. Mom, if it's about what happened the other day. I know things got crazy, but I am okay, I'm fine. Kushina hugged her son. I know, I just don't want to lose you. You're all I have left. Kushina let go of her hug as Naruto frowned but soon smiled at his mother. I know mom, I miss dad too. But I am sure he doesn't want you to be sad and crying out your tears, and beside you're tough. Where's the badass mother of mine? Kushina soon grinned. She's right here. That's right, my mother is a badass. Damn right, young man. By the way, I heard you talking about that special friend of yours. Kushina grinned soon widened. Naruto sweat drop as he felt caught. What are you talking about? Kushina smirked at her son. Alma, your friend, or should I say girlfriend? Naruto lowered his head. Oh, you heard me, huh? Clear as a bird. At least I didn't catch you masturbating about her. Mom. Naruto yelled while blushing embarrassing. So you were thinking naughty thoughts about her? Kushina laughed. It's not funny. Naruto looked away, while Kushina chuckled as she found it cute that her son finally got a girlfriend. A girl he could bring home to meet and become a part of the family. I don't mind at all, just be careful honey, love is hard. Thanks mom, I know. Naruto remembered Sakura. But beside that, I don't mind if you and Alma give me grandchildren. Kushina patted Naruto's back as Naruto fell off his bed. Mom, really, I'm too young to have kids. Kushina crossed her arms over her chest. Nonsense, your grandmother had me when she was 17. Naruto sighed at defeat. You're an awesome mom but bit crazy sometimes. Kushina laughed evilly while Naruto sweat dropped on the thought of Kushina being a grandmother and what she would do if Naruto and Alma have children. 3 days later. Slasher High. Before Naruto was able to go to his first class, Naruto bumped into the vice principal who wanted to have a word with him. Naruto was hoping he wasn't in trouble. Vice principal office. Have a seat, Naruto. Jill said with a friendly smile. Naruto nodded his head as he sat down in a soft couch as Jill sat in her chair as if she was waiting for someone. After a minute of waiting, a man entered the room. The man looked old but kind looking, but also he looked sick. Jill smiled as she stood up and kissed the man on his right cheek. The old man smiled at Jill as Jill nodded her head and left her office, leaving Naruto alone with the old-looking man. Hello Naruto, it is nice to meet you. My name is John Kramer. The old man spoke as Naruto sighed with relief. Hello John. Naruto paused for a moment. Do you know Ms. Jill? John chuckled for a moment. Of course, she is my wife. She's your wife? John nodded his head. She doesn't look old as you, but I don't mean to disrespect John. Naruto was hoping he didn't upset John on any old jokes of any kind. John nodded his head, understanding Naruto's reason. None taken. Jill is 50, she looks young, but she is old as I am. John chuckled weakly afterwards. So what's up? Naruto wanted to know why he was here and what reason. I want to make sure your health and state of mind is fine. I heard what happened to you and your friends from your mother. She is worried of your safety as a mother should. Think of me as your therapist. John explained the reason to Naruto why he was asked to come here. Naruto lay down on the couch as he saw John took out a pair of glasses and a notebook as he popped his pen ready to write down anything serious or useful information on Naruto or any issues that might become serious later on. Let's begin with your family, shall we, Mr. Uzumaki? John asked. Naruto chuckled. Please just call me Naruto. Naruto smiled friendly at John. Naruto then looked up at the ceiling of the room as he stared at the ceiling fan as he thought back to his family. What you want to know about my family? Naruto asked. Any trouble issues in the past? John wondered. Mom and dad never fought, not once. Dad never hurt mom and mom never hurt dad. Neither of them cheated on one another. They were the perfect pair, faithful to one another. It was shown I was their love child, living proof of their love. Dad always found a way to make mom happy no matter how mad he makes her. Naruto smiled as he thought back memories of his father Minato Namikaze. A healthy marriage is a healthy step of having a perfect family. John spoke as his words were truthful as Naruto believed him. Now tell me, did you come across any troubles later in your life? I have many. Losing my best friend, dad's death, moving from home, broken family, I got lots. Naruto frowned. Let's begin with your best friend, shall we? John said as Naruto let out a sigh. My best friend, Sakura, I knew her since I was 3. Sakura, she was my best friend, a daughter to my mother. She was like a sister to me when I was little, but over time I grew more and more of liking her and it formed into a crush. But I could never have her heart. John saw Naruto's left hand balled up into a fist as Naruto's left eye started to twitch a bit. A rival of love, I take it? John asked. Naruto smirked at first before returning his frown. Yeah, you could say that. Sasuke Uchiha, the hottest guy, what the girls at my school always tell me, and every other guy. I never liked Sasuke. Too much of a know-it-all. And worst of all, he was a spoil punk. Girls begging left and right, but at first I pay no mind, but once I heard Sakura really liked him. Naruto paused for 2 minutes. Naruto. John spoke as he grew a little worried what was going on through Naruto's mind. I kept it to myself for a while. I still was Sakura's #1 person she could depend on. I helped her, I always had her back. She saw me as her big brother, but I told and warned her Sasuke wasn't the one for her. John chuckled. It would seem you were more like a father to her. Brother or father, it didn't matter. I wasn't going to let that Uchiha use her like the other stupid girl high heels for him. But when the school dance came, Sasuke danced with her, but soon after told her she was a bad dance and she wasn't worth it even after she told him she loved him. Sakura ran away. I wanted to punch that punk. Naruto grinned his teeth as John could see the anger in Naruto's eyes. What were your thoughts of this Sasuke? Do you hate him? Did you see him worthy of the life he has been given? John asked. John the First, can be honest with you. Can this be off the record? John thought for a second as he could see in Naruto's eyes this boy been through shit, very well. Naruto smiled a little as he nodded his head. Thank you, I hated Sasuke. I saw him as a punk, a spoiled brat, a worthless piece of shit he was. Unworthy of the life he has been given. Because of him Sakura took her life and he laughed about it right in my face, that bastard. With dad's death and I was failing in class and I just lost my best friend, I just lost it. I didn't care what happened to me afterwards. I just lost it, my mind, my thoughts, my feelings, everything went blank. I felt nothing but a complete feeling of revenge. I was happy, I was so happy, so very, very happy. Naruto chuckled as he grew a twisted grin. Naruto twisted grin disappear shortly, but I didn't do it for myself. I did it for Sakura. She didn't deserve that bullshit Sasuke did to her. She had so much in her life, so much, she was good girl. I know if she was alive I would liked her to come here with me and my mother. I may not win Sakura's heart as her lover, but I did win her heart as her big brother and being her best friend. I'm trying to have a fresh start here. I've already have new friends here. I don't want to lose them like how I lost Sakura. Sasuke, I kill him because he didn't deserve to live. I'll kill again if it means to protect my new friends and my mother. I have no problem killing again. Naruto spoke truthfully to John, being honest to the core. Thank you, Naruto. That will be all for today. I've seen worse and troubled before. But you, Naruto, I see you cherish the lives of others who are worthy of living. You put others before yourself. Naruto saw John grew a large smile. Thanks, John. When my father died, he died protecting me and mom. He told never be afraid to sacrifice yourself to protect what you love and cherish the most. My father didn't die as a loser or a fool, he died a hero and a good man. Naruto frowned. He missed his father, knowing Kushina missed Minato more than he did. Your father taught you well. Naruto nodded his head, agreeing with John. Yeah, he did. Naruto grinned. We will finish the rest tomorrow, Naruto. Naruto got up from the couch as he bowed his head to John as he left the office. John looked at the notice what he written down so far on Naruto and his background. Student is perfectly sane. Lunch hour. Naruto was eating alone by himself during lunch hour. He didn't see any of his friends there, guessing they were eating somewhere else or taking care of other matters. But suddenly Naruto felt someone brought right arm around Naruto's neck and rubbed their left fist into his hair. "Hi Stan," Naruto said with a blank tone. Stan smirked under his ghost face mask. "What's wrong, Naruto? Why so down?" "It's nothing." Naruto wanted to close the subject real quick. But Stan knew there was something wrong, as Naruto usually had something to say or talk about. "Come on, Naruto. I know there's something on your mind. Come on, tell me. If you don't, I'll have my friends make a text message to everyone with a cell phone and make a rumor about you." Stan waited for Naruto to give in. Hearing Naruto sigh gave Stan the sign that Naruto gave in. "So what's eating ya?" "It's just today I had a talk with Ms. Jill's husband John. And we got talking about my past." Naruto looked really down, as if someone just broke his heart. "We all have dark secrets or painful past." "Yeah, everyone does. Just it's only been a half a week since I came here." "I'm sorry Stan, I can't talk about it. I'll see you later." Naruto rose up from his seat, but before he left he looked back at Stan. "And don't make any rumors." Naruto glared. Fine, I won't make any rumors." Stan promised as Naruto walked off. "Hey Stan, have you seen Naruto?" Alma came out from the long lunch line as Esther, Jason and Carrie, Michael were right behind her as everyone was ready to eat their lunch. "Yeah, you just miss him." Stan jerked his right thumb at the exit door of the lunch room. Stan saw a disappointed look from Alma. He said something about dealing with past issues. He had the talking with Mr. Kramer. I guess he brought something painful in Naruto's past. Esther thought for a second. Whatever it is, I am sure Naruto will be fine. There's no need to bother him. Stan smiled behind his mask. Or we can go and see what is bothering Naruto. I am sure there are some files on him. What ya say? Esther, Jason, Carrie, Alma wanna go see what secrets Naruto is hiding. Carrie shook her head. I don't think we should go and look at Naruto's past. I mean, it's his and not our business to know. I agree with Carrie. The last thing we need is rumors of everyone knowing Naruto's past all over the school. Alma spoke as she and Esther glared at Stan for having such an idea. Stan looked away. Fine, you win. But still, it was a good thought. I heard he's from issue. I heard his girlfriend killed herself because another guy shut her down. A voice was heard from behind the group. Alma was the first to look back to see who was talking. Alma's eyes widened in surprise, as it was the same two young men who Naruto cut both of their middle fingers off that night at the movie theater. The two young men smiled at the group of friends. Yup, Naruto went nuts and slaughtered his whole school. His own hometown wanted him dead. His mommy broke him out of jail, they were gonna give him the chair. He looks innocent like the rest of us, but he's a cold psychopathic like those at Monster High. So what, we're all psychopathic, just we got heart when it comes to killing. Beside, unlike us Monster High, they get off killing. When I kill, I do it with style and class. That proves Slasher High is better. Stan spoke. The two young men just laughed at Stan. You really think so? Well Stan, I guess that is why you're not part of Monster High anymore. Oh well, that's your loss. The other day we learned how to come back from the dead if you're killed. Esther smirked and laughed at the two young men. Is that it? Please, I learned how to do that from Ms. Tiffany about the second life lesson from our after-school program. Can you bring yourself back to life fully or just parts? Can you even heal all your wounds? The two young men frowned at Esther as the young girl just laughed at the two. Don't get. One of the two said to Esther. Naruto may have cut off your fingers because you were stupid enough to think he was taking you both serious. If I was him, I wouldn't stop by cutting off your fingers. The two young men didn't think Esther was the type to be in the serious class of ever becoming a serial killer. You become a serial killer. Please, you don't look like or even have the full smarts of becoming one. One of them said. Esther took a knife from Stan and held it against the second young man's throat. What do you think of me? Talk to me that way ever again, I'll cut off your balls and shove them down your friend's throat. Now off before you upset everyone. Beside, you're not from our school, you're from Monster High, aren't you? The words Monster High caught everyone in the lunchroom attention as the room quickly went dead silence. All eyes were on the two young men. You win for now. We won't forget this. The two young men left the lunch room quickly before anyone had the chance to strike. Soon as the two young men left the lunch room, everything returned to normal as before. Stan chuckled as Esther gave Stan his knife back. That went well. Rude jackass they were. No manners whatsoever. Esther frowned. What's the difference between Monster High and Slasher High? A familiar voice asked. As the group looked back to see Naruto was standing right behind them with a friendly smile on his face. How long were you there? Alma asked. Naruto chuckled. Long enough to know my friends have my back. Naruto kissed Alma on her right cheek, causing her to blush as Naruto was holding both of Alma's hands. Stan spoke up. Since I am the only one of our group who came from Monster High first and now is a full student of Slasher High, I shall be the one to tell ya. Just said it already, Stan. Esther sighed. Stan nodded his head and started to explain to Naruto. Slasher High is for slasher or serial killer or magical beings who wants to become better at what they are or wants to live a normal serial killer life, the life of infamous. But anyone can join thought. I don't understand. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. Okay. Naruto, you kill to protect your loved ones, right? Naruto nodded his head. Yeah, I did. I'd murder 50 students because thought I was wrong to kill Sasuke. They were bad just as him. Talk my down and they even tried to murder me. Naruto growled at the thought for a moment. Everyone here at Slasher High, here are the types of students here so far, either had someone they loved murder and kill for them in revenge, B became serial killers because it's in their blood or their true nature. C, they were misjudged by the world or betray the people they trusted the most. Or D, they want to become the greatest the world shall ever know. Or E, they kill for the sake of killing. There are numbers of reasons of becoming a killer or serial killer. But we all have a reason of doing it. Slasher High helps us find out our reason or goal, our true killer. But in truth, we are all victims of the need to kill. Stan explained the different and reason of half of the students and staff of the school. As I said before, Brook Valley is a special place. You and Mother must have done something in your lives in order to come here. Esther spoke up as Naruto remembered her saying those words. I'm still confused how everything here works. In time you will fully understand. Stan patted Naruto's back. What about Monster High? Naruto wondered. Monster High, well, unlike Slasher High, Monster is half filled with man-made monsters or freaks of nature or demons, killers that are not serial killers or fall into the class of human or humanoid killers. In short, Slasher High is for slasher or humanoid killers, Monster High is for, well, monsters. And Brook Valley is our home, be we dead, undead, killers or not. The dead cannot be killed, but that doesn't mean the undead can't be killed. Stan chuckled. Naruto raised his right eyebrow. So, Brook Valley is like a special place, what, like the Twilight Zone or something? You could say that, but the less you know the better. Esther said as the subject was quickly closed. After school was over, as everyone was about to get on the school bus due to Michael's car was still in shop and need lots of repairs, Naruto stopped Alma right after she closed her locker. Alma, I know there's been a lot of things keeping from me from saying these words, but would Alma you be my, before Naruto could say those words. Naruto felt Alma pressed her lips against his as her kiss said it all. No need to say those words if you are already what you want to say. Alma winked at her boyfriend as Naruto rubbed the back of his head while blushing. The newly couple heard Stan calling them as the bus was ready to leave. Hey Alma, would you like to come over my place? Just you and me, my mom want to get to know you more. Naruto grinned as Alma smiled big as her boyfriend. I love to. This new life in this new town had brightened Naruto's life more than he had hoped for. But will it last long? That is the question. There was a knock on the door. Kushina answered the door to see Alma. Wade was at the front door. Kushina hugged Alma as Alma was still getting used to Kushina hugging her so tightly. Alma, what brings you here? Let me guess, Naruto, right? Kushina had a motherly smirk on her face. Alma nods her head slightly. It's about our class project. Alma spoke. Class project? Kushina asked as Alma nodded. What's it about? Naruto is upstairs taking a nap. Kushina walked in the living room as the two took a seat on the couch. Flashback. Alright you little shits, today is the day I will give out your class project that you will be heavily graded. Freddy Krueger said to his class as all the students listen up. You will be given each of these dolls. These dolls will be your child if your child shows how good you are as a parent or bad. These dolls are specially made, they will react and base off your personality and how you treat them. Freddy explained to everyone. Alma, since Mr. Uzumaki isn't here today, I will hand you your child doll to him. Tell him what I told you. If you and he take care of your doll child, you will pass with flying colors, but if you don't, both of you will fail. End of flashback. Alma opened her book bag, showing Kushina the child doll that she and Naruto will take care of as their child. The doll had naked pale colored sack doll. Kushina looked at the doll as she grew a big smile. Oh, a sack boy, I hadn't seen these since I was a little girl. Kushina smiled. Sack boy? Alma asked. Yeah, sack boy. My mother made one for me when I was 2. She made it just for me. It looks so much like one I had, but a bit different though. I am sure you and Naruto will pass for sure. Kushina grinned. Kushina suddenly remembered something. Speaking of passing, Naruto's birthday is coming up this week. He'll be 17 this month. Alma whispered under her breath. Naruto's birthday. You said something, Alma. Alma snapped out of it as she looked at her boyfriend's mother. Alma shook her head no as Kushina closed the subject at hand with her motherly smile. Next day. After school. The after-school program were closed for today. The group of friends was outside of the school hanging together: Naruto, Alma, Michael, Esther and Jason, Carrie, Pyramid Head and Stan. Stan was busy texting on his phone while Esther was read her history book. Carrie was reading her old Bible. Michael was watching cars go to school. Pyramid Head and Jason were arm wrestling and Alma was resting on her boyfriend's left shoulder while Naruto was holding Alma's right hand. What should we do today? The clubs are closed for today. Naruto asked. We could go downtown like last time. Esther said while reading her history book. I said we go and see what those idiots at Monster High are doing. Stan said. Carrie protests the idea. We should do that. We're not even supposed to go there, especially to cause trouble. Carrie has a good point, Stan. Beside, we're fine as we are. Some days it is best to relax like what we're doing now. Esther said as she turns her to stare at Stan. Stan submits to his friend's idea. Michael looked at Naruto. What is it, Mike? Naruto asked. Michael, that is a good idea. Mike wants to know if it's already if we just hang out over your place, Naruto. Esther said. Yeah, sure, my mother won't mind. Naruto smiled at the idea. Uzumaki household. Living room. Anyone want to try my homemade cooking? Kushina asked as everyone gathered together in the living room. Naruto, Alma and Carrie and Michael sat on the couch while Pyramid Head, Jason sat down on the second couch while Esther sat in a large chair. Yes, Ms. Uzumaki. Everyone said while Michael and Jason nod their heads. Kushina smiled greatly as she went to the kitchen to make dinner for Naruto and his friends. So Alma, does your father knows about you and Naruto dating? Carrie asked the young couple. Alma frowned for a moment before she spoke. He doesn't know, yet. Alma and I wanted to wait to tell him. We told my mother about Alma's dad being a little overprotected, so my mother told us to focus on our relationship, play the friend card in front of her dad while we're really are dating. Naruto explained to Carrie. Just be careful, Naruto. Mr. Wade doesn't take well to others being Alma's friends. We were lucky he let us hang with Alma. Esther spoke. Let's watch some TV or play some games. Naruto changed the subject. Kushina smiled as she watched from the kitchen, seeing how well Naruto has gotten well with his new friends. Seeing how her son smiled, seeing him surrounded by friends and seeing his smile made Kushina's heart filled with joy. That night, with everyone's stomachs filled with Kushina's homemade cooking and had the time of their lives hanging with Naruto and his mother. It was 2 o'clock and everyone had fell asleep in the living room while Kushina was asleep in her bedroom. Kaboom! Suddenly Stan's cell phone went off. That woke everyone. Naruto looked around quickly to see who made that noise. Stan looked at his cell phone. Hello. Stan answered. Stan stood up as he walked out of the living room. Hey mom, yeah, I know how late it is. Yeah, I'm with friends, actually I'm over Naruto's house. Stan paused as he nodded. Yes mom, he's the one who dating Alma. Okay, yeah, I'll see you later, tell dad not to worry. Stan hanged up as he turned looking at the sleepy Naruto. Hey, Naruto, can I crash here at your place for tonight? Stan asked. Yeah, sure, it's okay, we're friends after all. You guys can have the living room. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Naruto got up from the couch as he walked upstairs while everyone went back to their usually spot going back to sleep. Alma frowned for a moment before she closed her eyes going back to sleep. Next day, October the 3rd. Naruto woke up by the sound of heavy knocking on his door. Naruto answered the door only to be greeted by Stan, Jason, Pyramid Head and Michael. Naruto looked puzzled. Hey, what wrong, guys? The four stared at Naruto for over few seconds before Stan spoke. Naruto, how long have you been holding out on us? Naruto looked afraid. What are you guys talking about? Stan took out his knife, held it against Naruto's throat. How long have you been keeping a pool in the backyard? Stan and guys laughed as Naruto looked puzzled and scared at the same time. Stan withdraws his knife and patted Naruto's shoulders. What's wrong? Naruto's face changed to an anger face. What the hell? I thought you guys were going to kill me. Stan jerked his head back. What, can't take a joke, man? Naruto bared his teeth as he reached, grabbing a large combat knife as the guys ran down the stairs. Get back here. Naruto chased after the guys down the stairs and into the living room. The guys escaped into the back door that lends to the pool in the backyard. Naruto growled like an angry dog in his boxers holding a combat knife. Naruto suddenly noticed where he was as Naruto heard someone let out a whistle. Naruto looked back to see a smiling Esther, a blushing Carrie and Alma doing the whistle. Naruto blushed, feeling very embarrassed as he ran back upstairs to get dressed. Alma, you sure are one lucky girl. That boy is fit to be a bodybuilder star. Esther laughed. Carrie was embarrassed to say anything about seeing a half-naked Naruto. Alma giggled while smiling. Remember, he's mine, so hands off, girls. Esther laughed. Don't worry, Alma, he's a bit too young for me. Esther, just how old you are? Carrie asked. Esther answered. Old enough to be your mother. Carrie, let's just leave at that. Breakfast is ready. Kushina's voice was heard in the kitchen. Kushina peeked in the living room. Can you girls get the boys into the kitchen? Can one of you go and wake up Naruto? Come on, Carrie, let's go get the boys. Alma gets your boyfriend. Carrie nodded as both she and Esther went off to get the boys who were in the pool goofing off. Alma went upstairs to Naruto's room. Alma saw Naruto's door was slightly open. Alma peeked when she saw Naruto wasn't wearing any. Alma slightly blushed. Naruto heard Alma gasp, seeing his girlfriend seeing him in the nude didn't made him blush completely. Alma closed the door. He told her. Sorry. Alma closed the door. Alma rested her back against the door as her heart was beating fast. Alma couldn't shake off the. Naruto opened the door as Alma turned around, seeing Naruto fully dressed. Naruto had an embarrassed look on his face. How much did you see? He asked. Everything, she answered. Naruto groaned but stopped when Alma kissed him on the lips. Don't be like that. I wouldn't mind if you saw me naked. Alma smiled. Naruto smiled back at his girlfriend. Well, that I wouldn't mind seeing. Naruto grinned. Breakfast is ready. Kushina's voice was once again heard. During breakfast, Jason, Michael, Pyramid Head and Stan lift their masks slightly so they can eat. Kushina's pancake was the best the group of friends ever had. Since today is Saturday, I say we go Blood Mall. Stan spoke up for any ideas to do today. Where's Blood Mall? Kushina asked. Yeah, they just finished the mall about the other day. It's twice the size of Slasher High. It's down where the movie theater is. Stan explained as he continued. It got almost everything you need. I say we go and see if it's true. Everyone looked at one another before everyone nodded, agreeing with Stan. How are we going to get there? Michaels doesn't have his car anymore. Carrie spoke as everyone remembered. Kushina smiled. I'll take you there. Mom, the Jeep can't hold us all. Naruto spoke. Kushina grinned. Don't worry, honey, I got that covered. Outside of Uzumaki household, beside Kushina's Jeep was a large red Hummer. Naruto looked at his mother. Mom, when did you get a Hummer? Kushina smirked. Oh, I so happened to spot it the other day. And well, I was given a nice discount with the car dealer. Kushina chuckled as she cracked her fists. Everyone but Naruto sweat drop as they know what Kushina did to get that nice deal. The red Hummer had enough room for everyone. Alma sat in passenger seat while Naruto, Stan, Carrie and Esther sat in the back, while Jason, Michael and Pyramid Head sat in the far back. While driving to Blood Mall, Kushina looked at the view mirror to see a large truck driving up to Kushina's Hummer. Kushina didn't mind it at first until it gotten real up close to the back of the Hummer. Naruto felt a very familiar feeling as he peeked out from the left side window. "Oh, you got to be kidding me." Naruto yelled. "What's wrong?" Kushina asked. "It's that truck again, the same one that drove us off the road before," Naruto said as Esther, Michael and Alma got real worry. The truck rammed against the back of the Hummer. Kushina drove to the right side letting the truck get off, but the truck just followed Kushina and again rammed against the back of the Hummer. Kushina bare her teeth. "That does it. Alma, can you take the wheel?" Alma nodded as she wasn't sure why Kushina would ask her to do such a favor. Kushina opened the side glove department and took out a double-barrel shotgun. Everyone's eyes widened in shock to see where in the hell Kushina was hiding that. Kushina rolled down her driver window. "Mom, where did get that?" Naruto before could say anything else. Kushina's right foot smashed down on the gas while Alma tried her best not to have the Hummer crashed into anyone or anything. Kushina held to the roof of the Hummer and aimed her saw-off double-barrel shotgun at the truck. The truck smashed into the back of the Hummer again to keep Kushina from firing. Kushina aimed for the tires of the truck. Kushina saw the truck ruin the colors in the back of the truck. "Oh no, you didn't." Kushina fired at the front right wheel of the truck. It didn't work. Kushina tried again but failed. Kushina aimed right at the driver's window after reloading. Kushina fired and hit the driver right on the spot as the truck driver turned and drove off the road. Kushina gave the driver the biggest middle finger she ever given to anyone. "Suck on that bitch." Kushina slid back inside as she smashed on the brakes quickly. Kushina stopped right before she ran through a red traffic light. "Phew, that was close. Could have gotten a ticket," Kushina said as she looked back at everyone to see if they were all right. Naruto was holding on to his seat. Carrie was gripping on to Stan for dear life. Stan also was holding on to his street. Esther was gripped onto Naruto while Alma had a scared look on her face. All the girls but Kushina, hairs was brushed out. Jason, Michael and Pyramid Head didn't look worried though behind their masks they were scared for life. Seeing the red light become a green light, Kushina drove off in normal speed. Once finding a parking space, Kushina got out from her Hummer as she was amazed by the size of the mall and how beautiful it looked. "Come on everyone, let's go." Kushina smiled as she walked off. Everyone got out of the Hummer still shocked and had the look of fear on their faces. Everyone was still amazed how Kushina took out a truck with no problem with just a saw-off shotgun alone. Alma wrapped her arms around Naruto's right arm, while Stan was trying to get Carrie's tight grip off him while Esther still had tight grip around Naruto's left arm. "Naruto," Stan said as he looked at his friend. "Yeah, Stan," Naruto asked. "Is it all right to piss yourself with fear knowing our lives nearly ended by the hands of your mother and how awesome of your mom is?" Stan asked. "I don't know about the awesome part, but I agreed with you on the fear." Naruto nodded. "Good. Now with that out of the way, let's go see what's so great about this mall." Everyone walked together although they were scared shitless of what just happened. They were here at Blood Mall. But the real question is, did Kushina put an end to the unknown driver or will they find out during their little trip in Blood Mall? Upon after the event of being nearly killed by Naruto's mother, driving skills. Everyone had recovered from the shock and now they were together within Blood Mall. When the group entered through the front entertains, everyone's eyes widen in shock as the mall was huge. It was beyond huge, it was a super mall. Hundreds of stores were everywhere from top 5th level down to the lower level. "Wow, and this is the first floor," Naruto said as everyone nodded still amazed by this giant mall. "If we're not careful we can get lost," Stan said. Kushina turned around looking at everyone. Suddenly Kushina clapped her hands together as she smiled. Everyone quickly wanted to know what Kushina was planning. "Everyone, since this mall is so huge, we shall do this either together or as two groups, Group A and Group B." "Groups sound good. I'll be leader of Group A," Naruto said. "I'll be leader of Group B. Who joining me and who's joining Naruto?" Kushina asked. Stan, Pyramid Head, Michael, Alma walked over to Naruto's side while Esther, Jason and Carrie joined Kushina's side as everyone choose the team they will be a part of. Naruto looked cell phone for the time. "We'll meet up at the food count in 4 hours," he asked his mother. Upon departing as Group A and B, Naruto and his team journey to the upper floors while Kushina and her team journey down to the lower floors, as both teams adventure their way throughout Blood Mall. Lower floor. This place doesn't seem that bad. Kushina smiled while looking around the mall. Hey look, there's a map. Let's see, there's a weapon store here. A shopper's. What else does this floor place has? Esther said, while everyone was glazing at the map. You guys don't mind shopping with me. Naruto's birthday is coming soon and I want to surprise him. You give me an old lady like me a helping hand? Kushina asked her son's friends while smiling at them. Jason nodded while Carrie and Esther just smiled as they gladly would give Kushina the help she needed. But first to the weapon store. I wonder if they got a bigger shotgun. Kushina smirked evilly. Ms. Uzumaki, may I ask you a question? Carrie asked Kushina. Please call me Kushina, okay. But yes, what is it, honey? Kushina said with a motherly smile. How come the rest of your family members aren't supportive of you? Carrie was being carefully with her words. Kushina stared at the young girl for a moment. So Naruto told you about our family not being so. Kushina paused. Together. Esther finished Kushina's sentence. Not everyone in my family see what I did was a good thing. Sure, my son murdered half of his school, but my boy been through so much bullshit I don't blame him. I lost the girl I saw as my daughter to a would-be player, and to top it off my husband died not too long ago. My mother, I know she support my action, but the rest of my family, that is a different story. Kushina said with a frown. I'm sorry I asked you that question, Ms. Kushina. Carrie said with a large frown. Oh no, don't worry, Carrie. I'm fine, honey. The wounds of our past haven't quite healed yet. I'm not sure for Naruto. But I see my son's friends as family. The red-haired woman grins at her son's friends. Does this mean we can call you mom? Esther joked while Jason and Carrie looked curious as Kushina was an awesome mother of their new friend. Kushina just smiled friendly. I guess so. She chuckled. On the top floor, Naruto and the group enter one of the newest stores they had within Blood Mall. Welcome to S-Mart. Shop smart at S-Mart. One of the employees spoke to the group. The group entered the store and was amazed how huge the store was. It was like they were within a whole different kind of mall. Michael and Pyramid and Stan were checking out the weapons arena of S-Mart. The boys saw an awesome stack of weapons they saw. From large combat knives to chainsaw to old classic medieval weapons and even blades from the land of rising sun. While Naruto and Alma were checking out a different arena within the large store. Hey Alma, check this out. Alma turned to see Naruto holding a t-shirt with the words, I love my girlfriend, she's too awesome for you. Seeing those words made Alma smile as she let out a giggle. You're so sweet. Alma kissed Naruto on the right cheek, causing him to blush. Hey Naruto, I got a question for you. Stan's voice was heard from behind. Yeah, Naruto looked over his right shoulder. It's possible to skin a person with a piece of glass. Stan's question was, don't know. Never tried it before, why do you ask? He asked. Well, Pyramid Head, he doesn't need a weapon to do that. Stan pointed at their tall friend. As that's so. Naruto smirked. Wanna see? Pyramid Head said. No, not really, beside I think that would get us kicked out. Naruto sweat drop. What make you think that would happen? Pyramid Head asked. Naruto pointed at a sign behind Stan and Pyramid Head as everyone looked at what the sign said. No stealing, no eating, no drinking, no smoking, no killing, no skin peeling, no pet, no shirt, no shoes, no service. Those who do not follow these rules will be shot. Survives will be shot again. Wow, they're really serious when it comes to rules. Alma said while the group sweat dropped together. Look like someone got skin here before we got. Wonder if that guy out skin you, PH. Stan laughed. What? That's bull. Who does skin peeling beside me? I'm the best skin peeling in Brook Valley. Pyramid Head yell. Who would have thought when it comes to skin peeling PH gets serious? Stan whispers to Naruto. Naruto nodded along with Alma. 4 hours later. Food count. Jason, Carrie, Kushina and Esther arrive at the food count to meet up with the others. They saw Naruto and Alma were sitting down at a table together. Hello son, where are the others? Kushina asked Naruto. Over there. Mike and PH, Stan is getting our lunch. We're just holding the table for everyone. Naruto explained as everyone took their seats at the large table. Naruto eyed his friends and mother as he saw large number of bags, mostly large number from the ones Jason was carrying. What's with the bags? Naruto asked them. Well, Carrie said. Party stuff. Esther said. Esther. Carrie yelled at her friend. Naruto smiled as he knew these stuff was for him. What? I just want Halloween party the school is having in 3 weeks. I just want to make sure everyone have everything all set. Esther told Carrie. Naruto's eyes widened for a moment, he was totally thrown off there. Oh that's nice. Naruto's smile faded into a frown. The look of disappointment came across his face quickly. I'll be back, gonna check what's taking the guys so long. Naruto rose up from his seat and left. What's wrong with Naruto? Alma asked. This stuff is actually for him, but we want it to be a surprise party. So I had to tell him it was for the school. I guess I threw him off a little too much. Esther watched Naruto talking to Michael and Pyramid Head and Stan from afar. Naruto never had a birthday party that was good. There was always something happen or something that comes up. Usually everyone but Naruto's father and I would forget about his birthday. Kushina frowned. He wants a real birthday party. No one wants to be forgotten. Being forgotten is a horrible feeling. Esther said while everyone was saddened by this, however Jason gasped when an idea suddenly came to him. Got something, Jason? Esther asked the masked boy. Jason nodded as the girls looked at him, waiting to hear what he got to say. Hey, we finally got lunch. Naruto's voice was heard. Tell us later, Esther said as Jason nodded. Shortly while eating together, everyone was enjoying their time together eating their meals with one another. Before everyone could finish their meals, a large shadow case over everyone, as all looks eyes looked up and widened upon what they saw from above. Naruto grabbed Alma as Jason grabbed Esther, Kushina grabbed Carrie and Michael and Pyramid Head grabbed Stan as everyone threw themselves away from the large table as a giant metal orb crashed down on the table nearly crushing everyone. What the hell was that? Stan shook his head as everyone got up from the floor. Alma looked around for Naruto but didn't see him until she heard a groan noise. She turned and saw a tall man wearing a dark coat with a hat was standing over Naruto. The tall man had his right foot down on Naruto's chest. Naruto struggled as the man kept Naruto in place with his right foot. Naruto looked at the man as he saw a pair of yellow eyes staring down at him. What the hell? Get off me, will ya? Naruto asked the man. Get asshole, get off my boy. Kushina yelled. The man looked over his right shoulder only to be hit from behind by a crowbar by Kushina. Wow, look at Naruto's mother go. Esther said while everyone nodded. Where did she get the crowbar? Carrie asked. Suddenly everyone paused as they too wished to know that question. The tall grabbed Kushina's right hand and threw her across the food count and turned his sight on Naruto. Suddenly wings came out from the tall man's back, everyone's eyes widened in shock. Naruto ran away from the others knowing this man was after him alone. The tall man flew at Naruto in quick speed but however, lucky for Naruto the young Uzumaki dodged to the right easily dodged from being grabbed by the winged tall man, but however suddenly the tall man flew backward towards Naruto. The tall man kicked Naruto in the stomach and then performed an axe kick on Naruto's head. Naruto couched up blood from his mouth. His sight was blurry from the powerful blow to the head. The tall man grabbed Naruto by the back of his neck and held him up high in the air. Dad, what are you doing? A young girl yelled. The tall man paused as his yellow eyes widened in shock. The tall man looked over his right shoulder to see a tall dark green-skinned teenage girl. The girl had a large horn on her forehead as she had a long spike tail and other spike on her back and both on her elbows. She wore white t-shirt with long shelves with a red mini skirt as she wore long black boots. Eve, what are you doing here? The tall man asked the young green-skinned girl. I'm here hanging with my friends. What are you doing here, Dad? Does Mom know you're here? The young girl eyed her father. Not now, honey, Daddy is in the middle of lunch. The tall man told his daughter. Dad, that's not food. That's Naruto, the boy I told you about. The one dating Alma. Weighed the news that been going around school. You're not going to eat him, are you? You know you'll get fat again. You're on a human diet, remember? Eve said to her father. The tall man sighed and threw Naruto aside. As Naruto was caught by Pyramid Head and Michael as Kushina walked over to the father and daughter. And glare at the father with a hateful glare. Kushina slapped the back of the tall man's head with her crowbar. Who the hell you think you are? What the hell is the matter with you? My son isn't your meal. Kushina said with a pissed glare. Dad, now you really done it. Eve sighed. Your father has been stalking my son. Kushina yelled. He also bumped Michael off the road. Esther added, I'm so telling Mom what you did. Eve smirked. The tall man gasped in fear. He fell to his knees in front of his daughter. Eve, please don't tell your mother. I was hungry, I hadn't a human in 10 days. The tall man begged his daughter. Eating humans make you fat and also you leave a mess around. Mom is tired of you leaving human skin and rotten eyeballs and livers in the living room. Eve crossed her arms over her chest. And what about you, young lady? You leave those boys' corpses in the basement. I work there, you know. The tall man snapped at his daughter. They're dead and you eat humans. I thought was helping my father. Can ya blame me? Eve laughed. I don't eat corpses beside each one of those boys you kill smell like. I smell fear to eat not. He yelled at his daughter. What a strange family relationship this one is. Stan said while everyone sweat dropped as they nodded. The tall man looked at the group who were staring at him and his daughter. Forgive me. I'm Mr. Creeper and this is my daughter Eve. We're new to these parks, I'm still new to everything here. Sorry for trying to kill and eat you, kid. It's just you're just leaking with fear. It was too good to pass up. Creeper apologized the Uzumaki family for his actions while Eve chuckled while Creeper sighed. Yeah, it's kind of my fault. We're new here too, about few weeks ago we moved in. Guess it hasn't rubbed off me, huh? Naruto chuckled. Well, whatever it is, knocked it off. You're giving my dad an orgasm, he gets off on smell of fear. It's creepy and gross. Eve shook her head and facepalm in shame. Hey, I'm your father, you will respect me, young lady. Creeper glared at his daughter. I love you, dad, but when it come to respect, that is another thing. When you're flying around eating people, who gets you off whenever you scares the crap out of them? Eve said as Creeper sweat dropped and looked away while rubbing the back of his head. Maybe you have a point there, Eve. He said. But how do you know my son? Kushina asked Eve. Eve looked at Naruto and smiled at him as Eve licked her lips as Naruto jumped a bit when he saw Eve's tongue was lizard-like. Your son is very well known at Slasher High and a lot of people know of him from Monster High too. Right, Stan? Eve told Kushina. Good to see you again, Eve. Stan said while staring at her and her father. You know her? Naruto asked as Stan nodded. Yeah, remember when I said I once went to Monster High? Eve was one of the few friends I have made there. Stan jerked his right thumb back at Eve. So how is Slasher High treating ya? Eve wrapped her right arm around Stan's right shoulder. Stan sweat dropped and sighed. A lot better than Monster High was treating me. He told his old friend. So why don't ya introduce yours friends to me? Just because I'm from Monster doesn't mean I can't be friends with your new friends, Stan. When Eve grinned, everyone saw a full set of fangs. Only Naruto and Stan, Carrie and Alma sweat dropped together while everyone else just stared. I don't need to introduce you to Naruto, since you heard the rumors. Stan said while looking at Naruto. Yeah, the young boy who's Alma Wade's boyfriend. I know who Alma is as well. But the rest of your friends I don't know. Eve said with a friendly smile. The short one is Esther Smith, the shy one is Carrie White. The tall one is Jason Voorhees and second tall one is Michael Myers and tallest of the group beside Jason, the metal head over there that would be James, but everyone always calls him Pyramid Head or PH for short. Stan quickly introduced each of his friends to Eve and her father. Why did Stan spoke quickly about us? Naruto whispers to Esther. Right, you're still new when it comes to Monster High. While back when Stan was a part of Monster High, making friends isn't easy as you were able for Slasher High. Plus, have you ever had your old friends meet with your new friends? It doesn't always turn out so well, especially since her father was about to eat you. Esther explains to Naruto as the young Uzumaki nod. Also, Eve and Stan used to date. However, well, Stan's parents doesn't like Eve very much. Rumors spoke of that Eve killed her last boyfriend who cheated on her. Stan's parents got him out of Monster High and put him in Slasher High. Esther added. Wow, I didn't know that. Naruto whispered as Esther nodded. Suddenly Stan's cell phone went off. He answers it only to hear the voice of his mother. Hey mom. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm with my friends. Stan explains to his mother on the phone. Yeah, I'm here at Blood Mall. Where are you guys? Stan paused for a moment. No mom. I have enough clothes as it is already. Why don't you get dad to do it? Fine, I'll be there. 6th floor right. Okay, I'll be there soon. Stan hanged up his cell phone and sweat dropped. Family problem? Esther asked Stan. Kind of. My mother needs my help. My father right hand is stuck in the bathtub hole, again. She needs my help looking for the right tool to get his hand in one piece without cutting it off. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for the ride, Miss Yu. Stan waved at his friends and took off to the nearest elevator. Before we finish the rest of our visit here, let's put the bags in the hammer. Kushina said to everyone. Well, it was a pleasure meeting you all. Come on, Dad, let's go before you decide to cheat on your diet again. Eve grabbed her father by the right ear and waved goodbye to everyone before leaving with her father. I'm telling Mom too, Eve added. Mr. Creeper was begging Eve not to tell her mother, his beloved, what happened today. Fine, I won't tell Mom unless you give me something in return. Okay, I'll buy that damn handbag you kept begging me about. Creeper sighed. I love you, Daddy, tee. Eve's laughter was heard. This place gets stranger and strangers. The young Uzumaki said before leaving the food count with his mother and his friends. The day was still fresh, there's so much to do before the day comes to the end. A day has passed since their journey at Blood Mall. 5 days away from Naruto's birthday, this Friday would be that day. Kushina told Naruto's friends not to say anything about the plan they have in store for him. So the group kept their mouths shut and acted normally around their blonde friend. It was Monday at Slasher High. Naruto and the others just arrived at the school. In Naruto's history class, something new came happen. Everyone saw Mr. Ash had a friendly smile on his face as a young girl stood beside him to his right. The young girl wore a pink and white uniform, possibly from her former school. She had long, dark straight hair, her bangs falling below her brows, her eyes were amber colored. Everyone, we have a new student who just transferred today. I want all of you to treat her with kindness and respect. Now honey, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone? Ash said while looking at his new student. The young girl nodded her head shyly. I'm Misao. She said her name. Hi Misao. Everyone in the classroom said together. Misao, why don't have a seat next to Ms. White? Mr. Ash pointed where Carrie was sitting. Carrie was sitting in front of Naruto. Once Misao took her seat, she noticed how Naruto was looking at her. Don't mind me, he told her. I'm Naruto. He smiled. I'm Carrie. Carrie said to Misao. I'm Misao. She'd stun her a bit. Welcome to Slasher High. The two welcomed the new girl. Misao answered back with a friendly smile. After history class was over, everyone was leaving class quick. Misao looked lost as everyone was hurrying to their next class. You can get loose during your first day. A friendly voice spoke. Misao looked behind to see a young girl. That young girl was Esther. Who are you? Misao asked the young schoolgirl. I'm Esther Smith. I'm one of Naruto's friends. I take it you're new here, right? Misao nodded her head. What, your next class? Esther asked. English, she said. It's upstairs, room 211, you can't miss it. Also hurry up before school's watcher catches you. Esther told her before heading off to her class. Room 211. Misao entered second class of the day. The room didn't have a lot of students, about 7 students plus Misao were present. Taking her seat, Misao noticed one of the students' appearances caught her attention the most. He was very short, wore an orange color clothes, his face or rather head appearance to be a bag sack mask. In his right hand was a bitten lollipop. The short boy looked at Misao after feeling her stare. When he saw her looking at him, she quickly looked away. The boy suddenly let out a dark chuckle. Misao looked at her right to see a tall, long, black-haired girl. The tall, dark-haired girl's face was covered by her hair. The tall girl waved at Misao. Hello, class. A woman's voice spoke. All eyes looked to see their teacher entered the room. The teacher was a long black-haired Asian woman, unlike the tall girl. The woman's long hair didn't cover her face completely. She wore a black dress from neck to toe. I shall be your English teacher, you may call me Ms. Kayako. I will have name call before we begin. The woman told her class. Sadako Yamamura. Here. The tall, long, dark-haired girl spoke. Misao. I'm here. She said. Sam. The short boy raised his right hand in the air. Kayako called the rest of the class's names. With that being said, Kayako asked if anyone was new to Slasher High, they would rise up from their seats and introduce themselves to everyone. Misao stood up, being the newest member of the school. After class. After second period was done, Misao was looking around for the next class on her list, which was science. While searching for her classroom, she overheard the sound of someone being bulled. Come on, stay on your own. Yeah, you can move way faster without your wheelchair. Come on, do it. Yeah, do it. Misao saw from afar a group of boys. The boys were undead pair of zombies with few of them having one eye or no eyes at all. They appeared to be bullying a young girl. The girl had violet hair. Her eyes were golden colored. She had no legs as her cut limbs were wrapped in bandages, yet you can see large red marking on the bandages state she was still bleeding. Leave me. Leave me, please give me back my wheelchair. Please give it to me. Give it back. The young girl begged. The zombie boys teased her even after she begged. Misao watched as the style of bullying the young girl was going through, reminded her of her dark past that ended very ugly. But Misao was able to cover her past with the help of her friend Aki. Hey! Misao's yell got the undead boy's attention. Oh look, we got a hero here, huh? One of the undead boys frowns. Why don't you go buzz off, before you get yourself in trouble, huh little girl? One of them warned Misao. I said, leave her alone. Misao gave them a mean glare. Ooh, scary. Like a glare gonna do something to us. They laughed at Misao. The group turned away from the girl they were bullying and focused on Misao. They smiled at the brave Misao as they cornered her to a locker. Come on, show us what ya got. You know she's actually cute. How about a kiss, huh hottie? Hee hee, good one. We're gonna have some fun with her. Misao's amber eyes widen in shock, as a large shadow cast over them. The undead boys gulped down their spit as they heard the sound of knuckle cracking. Tell me, what were you planning to do with her anyway, guys? A deep dark voice said. When two of the undead boys turned to look to see who it was, they saw a pair of hands quickly grab them by the face and bash their heads together. The unknown person then grabbed the third undead boy and threw him into the wall as his brains colored the walls. Misao shut her eyes to cut off the sight of gore that was being displayed. Ah shit. It's him. Run guys, run. You got lucky girl, but we'll be back. Yeah, come back messing with my friend and I'll really shove my foot up your. Misao's hero yelled. Are you okay? Misao opened her eyes to see her hero standing before her. Misao's hero was a very big, muscular and tall young man. He wore jean shorts with a black no-sleeves t-shirt with the words, Monster Within, label on it. He had short brown hair. On his face he wore a white mask that almost looked like a hockey mask but had a very demonic look. Who are you? She asked her hero. I'm Rick. Rick Taylor, you must be new here. Rick said to the young girl. Rick went over and helped the legless young girl put to her wheelchair. Thank you, Rick. The young girl smiled at him. It's nothing. Sorry I was late, I forgot the homework Mr. Birkin gave us last class. Rick rubbed the back of his head. I'm Misao. She introduced herself to Rick and the wheelchair girl. I have to thank you for sticking up for Viola while I was away. Those boneheads love picking on her for some reason. Rick sighed. It's okay, Rick. Misao saved me, I'm really grateful. Viola smiled at her. What did those guys mean by you're faster without your wheelchair? Misao asked, being curious. I'm a fast crawler, but I get tired after a while. So I use a wheelchair to get around. Rick has been my friend ever since I got here. Viola smiled at her masked friend. Hey, maybe we can talk more at lunch. Viola asked Misao. I would like that. Misao smiled back. See y'all later. Rick and Viola left together to their next class. After Misao's third class, she headed off to lunch. There she met up with Rick and Viola. Still being new to the high school, Misao was in the lunch line with Rick and Viola. After getting their meal, the three walked around looking for a seat. Mind if we sit with you guys? Viola spoke up. As the group the three were asking, so happened to the group that had Naruto, Alma, Stan, Esther, Carrie and Jason. Sure, we're not saving this spot. Esther spoke for the group. Hey, you're that new girl. Naruto noticed Misao. I am. She looked shy. How it's going for ya? He asked. It's been good so far. I've made some friends. She looked at Rick and Misao. Name's Rick. Rick spoke his name. I'm Viola. Viola introduced herself. Hey, you're that Naruto guy. Word spread quickly about you, huh? You were a new guy for about a few days, right? Rick said as Naruto nodded. Yeah, I was, so it will take time for Misao to fit right in. He smiled friendly at the new girl. The group introduced themselves to Misao to make her feel just right at home, since she was the new girl to school and to their hometown. So Misao, what school and hometown you're from? Naruto asked the new girl. I'm from Japan, my hometown is just a small town. Let leave it at that. Misao smiled a little. Everyone already guessed she was bold or didn't fit in her old school from her reaction. Viola brought out her lunch bag and peeked inside. She quickly gasps in fear. What's wrong, Viola? Esther asked. My medicine, it's gone. She cried. Damn, I know what happened to your medicine. Rick looked worried. Viola looked at Rick. Do you know who took it? The masked teen nodded. Viola stopped as it hit her suddenly. Those jerks. She yelled as her eyes tear up. Do you need your medicine now? Naruto asked the purple hair girl. She nodded. I do, or else I'll start feeling pain again and my illness will kick in. I'll take Viola to the nurse, there should be an extra dust of your medicine there. Rick said, as Viola smiled at her friend. She'll be okay, Esther asked. If I get her to the nurse in time, it should help her until she gets home. Rick told the group. Need help on finding those jerks? Naruto pumped his right fist. Rick shook his head, to his new friend's idea, as much on how that sounds fun, I wouldn't waste my breath on those face clowns. Rick rolled Viola out of the lunch room. Sometime later that day, it was almost close to closing time and soon everyone will be heading off home. Rick was in the waiting room while Viola was being treated in the nurse's private room. Rick skipped 2 classes to help Viola. Rick had a soft spot for Viola. She was a friendly girl who just rotten luck due to life to wheelchair. The private room door opened. Rick looked to his right to see Viola coming out room, just fine. The nurse was a beautiful woman with large green eyes, her hair colored brown with 2 braids. She dons a green and white nurse's uniform. Thank you, Maria. Viola smiled warmly. You should be more carefully, Viola. Having your medicine taken is very dangerous. You don't want to be in the hospital again, do you? Maria frowns at the young Viola. I know, but I wish those guys would stop being so mean to me. She sighed. Have you talked to the principal? She asked, but Viola shook her head. And so the nurse asked why she didn't. I already have enough problems to deal with. Viola, the problem won't go away, they will keep picking on you even if Rick protects you. Maria placed her hands on Viola's shoulders, soon the young teen gave a nod. But very soon it'll be time for you to go home. But I want you to go to the hospital and tell your doctor you need more of your medicine. I'm not sure, but you're running low. Viola bit her bottom lip in anger. She knew they must done taken some of her medicine here as well. After school, Naruto was standing in front of the school, waiting for his mother Kushina to pick him up. While waiting, Naruto noticed Misao and Viola were outside the school as if they were waiting for someone. What are you two doing here? He asked the girls. The school bus doesn't go around where I live, Misao said. Naruto looked at Viola next. I'm waiting the bus to come, so I can go to the hospital, she said with a saddened look. The 3 heard a loud horn, as all eyes looked to see it was Naruto's mother, Kushina Uzumaki. Kushina was riding in her large Hummer, the same one from their trip to the mall. Naruto, could you give me a ride? Viola asked her new friend. Same here, Misao asked shyly. The Uzumaki boy only smiled and turned to his mother. Moments later, Kushina didn't mind giving her son's new friends a ride. They dropped off Misao first. Misao lived in what appears to be a small little white house. Misao asked if Kushina could pick her up tomorrow. She didn't want to seem like she was using Kushina's kindness. But the redhead mother didn't mind. She loved to help others, especially if they were friends with her son. She saw her son's friends as her own. Kushina, Naruto and Viola arrived at the hospital. The 2 Uzumaki joined Viola. They didn't want to leave her on her own, especially after hearing Viola had bit of bully problems of having her medicine taken not once but there were other time her book bag, lunch were taken from her by her bullies. I'm sorry Ms. Viola, but Dr. Killjoy isn't here today. But your secondary doctor is here, the faceless nurse said. After a moment of waiting in the waiting room on the 5th floor, a doctor greeted them. However, the doctor wasn't the type the Uzumakis had in mind of meeting. The doctor was a young female who had long blonde hair. Her eyes were amber-colored. She wore a long white doctor's coat. But that wasn't the thing that bothered to the Uzumakis. What bothered them was the fact she had 2 large bolts on the right and left side of her head. She had long lines of stitches from her lips that spread wide and another line above her left eyebrow. Ah, Ms. Viola, What seems to be the problem? The female doctor asked. You see, I'm running low on my. Viola paused. Your pain and illness pills. All ready. But didn't we give you at least 2 years of medicine? How are you running low? The female doctor looked puzzled. You see, doctor. Viola has bully problems. They keep stealing her medicine even when she asked them to stop. Kushina spoke for Viola's behalf. The female doctor tapped her chin as she thought for a moment. She closed her eyes just for a second, but she opened them as she gave a big nod. You have 2 options. One is to take the medicine I'm about to give you. This one is a stronger version of your medicine. It will last you a whole day, but you must take it during the morning. And you mustn't take it without an empty stomach. Or 2, we give you an operation so you can walk again, but the money will be your only problem. She told them. How much? Viola asked. About 80,000, she said with an honest voice. 80,000, Kushina said with stunned look. You think that worst? You should have seen the bill on reviving the dead. The woman doctor sighed. I'll just take the medicine. Viola's answer was. I'll give you 2. One alone will last you a year. I'll give you and the other one for you, Ms. The doctor looked at Kushina. Kushina. She said her name. The doctor reached inside her coat and pulled out a long pill bottle and gave one to Viola, and gave Viola the second one. Why give one to me? Kushina asked. Because Viola lives alone, and in case her medicine is stolen again, she would have an extra load by someone whom she can trust. Your name, doctor? Naruto asked. Fran Madaraki, she said with a smile, but everyone calls me Fran.